The Acolyte was reportedly renewed and then quickly canceled. What the hell happened? And stick around for many more topics on today's episode of The Big Thing. Let's do it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Big Thing. Well, for now. That's what the name of this show is. For now. What's that mean? Well, we'll get into it. I got a topic that I mentioned, clicked on. The Acolyte caused a whole bunch of stuff, man, last week. And people were going nuts about it. And then you said, if you, God forbid, you said the show got canceled, people lost their minds. I said, no, it didn't. It just didn't get renewed. Well, the guy I talk to each and every week on this show says it did get canceled. Because what does that mean? It means that it was going to get greenlit. And they said, okay, yeah, here we go. This is the show. We got it. And then they said, no, cancel that. We're not doing that. That's canceled. Who reported that? This guy, John Rocha.
Hello.
John, what happened?
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you, Kristian. And this is such a crazy story. Well, maybe not crazy in terms of recent Star Wars stuff and reversing course and firing directors and meddling with shows. But certainly, from what I have heard from some pretty good sourcing and people close to both Leslye and Lucasfilm, I was told that they had put together the writer's room back in February. And I know other articles had speculated it as a rumor or speculative, but no, it was very confirmed that that was happening and that happened. And that they were inquiring about the availability of directors as recently as last month. And I think what happened is those numbers came in, they took a look and they realized, okay, we're not going to go forward with this. Manny, don't say a word about season 2 at D23. And then we'll quietly just filter it out to our person over at Deadline to put the news out there that it's done. And so I think that's what happened at the end of the day. And people getting, seriously, people getting upset about canceled or not continuing. Talk about fucking semantics that mean nothing. To me, it's irrelevant. The show's not going forward. They don't want it. And so to me, that's what people need to take away from this whole thing. But yeah, this is just a sad case for the people involved with Acolyte. But in the end, I think a lot of people saw this coming a mile away. And now it's official that it is.
Some people saw it coming a mile away. But if your report is true, the people who saw this show and said, oh, yeah, this is good stuff. Let's greenlight second season. So,
yeah,
I even saw in the comments where people said, well, the reason I guess that they said no was because someone heard all the loud, hateful voices.
No,
no, it's not what happened. They looked and they said, we don't want to lose money anymore. We don't want to have, what they did is what I think it proves, and you can tell me because you heard a little bit more than I did, but what it looks like to me is they said, oh yeah, we really like what we have here. And then they said, yeah, let's get a season 2. We're ready to go. They jumped the gun like they always do.
Yep.
And they said, here you go. Let's go. Season 2. And then season 1 comes out. It not only doesn't do well with the fan base, the ratings go, and they thought it was going to go up. So with them thinking, okay, yeah, we got a good shot with this thing. And then it doesn't perform. And then Iger goes, no, what are you doing? We're not greenlighting $170 million for a show that didn't even barely hit the top 10 in the season finale.
Yeah.
So it makes it, it is another case of the jumping the gun, but it is this conversation that I had with a few different people, John, where it's like, yes, you have those people that love the show, and that's cool. Fine, you love the show, and I don't think no one should crap on you for loving a show. It's stupid, Absolutely. It's immature, it's dumb. Right. But you also have to understand that it's a business. And, for the people going, I saw a tweet from somebody that we like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a tweet like, well, wait a minute. If they cancel it, all the stuff that we did to fight against this means nothing. Well, what are you talking about? It's a business.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is a business. If they look at the numbers and they go, well, you know what? We're going to stand up to the people who hate it, even though it cost $170 million. We can't crack the top 10. And it's we'll just lose money putting it out. But you know what? A few channels are really being mean about it, but we're going to stick it up their butt and spend another $200 million and lose money. Yeah. What are you talking about?
It's ridiculous. That's not the path you want to walk on, because studios are not your political cause. They are not your political cause. They're not here to hold your hand and push through legislation to make sure the world is a better place. Their job is to create content that people, or films, TV, I know people hate the word content, whatever, but create films, television, whatever, that people want to watch. And yes, hopefully affect the world in a positive way, hopefully inspire people, hopefully leave them with a positive message about overcoming difficulties and trials and tribulations in life to succeed. And so, yes, this show certainly had a lot of crap from the beginning from the anti-woke YouTubers. That's fine. They did the same thing to X-Men 97, and then X-Men 97 came out and was an effing banger.
They're going to do it, John. They're going to do it to every show that comes out. And the way that you beat it is making it a good show that everyone likes.
Yeah, that's what I tweeted. Lucasfilm's lesson to learn here is come correct or don't come at all. That's basically it.
Make a show. That's what she said. Make a show. Make a show that everyone loves. Yes. No, I couldn't help myself. But make a show that everyone loves.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be, and well, that's easier said than done because they're always going to hate it. Yeah, they're always going to hate it. That's the point.
Yeah.
Make it a thing. Like I always bring up Mandalorian season 1 and season 2.
Yes.
Because 1 and 2, the people, you don't think that the people who were losing their minds about the sequel trilogy, and not the people who rightfully had complaints about it, but the people who just wanted to hate it, they hated. You don't think they were ready to just take their gloves off with tape glass on their fists and go, okay, here we go, Mandalorian 1 and 2, we're going to let you have it. And then, it's pretty good. So
yeah.
And that's, you have to beat them by making good stuff.
Yeah.
That's how you got to do it. And it's like, not just stuff that some people like, because look, everybody's going to like something, right? You're always going to think there's look, you like all the damn Transformers movies, and God bless you for it. I think that a lot of them are big piles of fly farts, but you love them. And whatever.
Not just me.
But they started to lose that money because of what we're talking about here, because the quality started dipping even more.
Yes.
And I think even though somebody who can appreciate those films, you would have appreciated it more if they were like great and universally loved.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Right. That's my point. My point is that you're always going to have people who want to defend it, want more of it. You know, this stuff that I would, of course, want more and more and more and more of, but it's like, you also got to look at it. It's a business. Business. And
I used to go toe to toe with people at our former outlet there and say, it's not show stroke my hair. It's not show rub my tummy. It's not show stroke my back. It is show business. And their business is to make money. And their business is to create, groundbreaking, interesting, exciting content, but also content that they know is going to be successful. And so that's what it is, Kristian. And you know it. You're saying it over and over again because it's the truth. And people really need to kind of factor that into their feelings, because that's how you navigate all of this stuff. Is understanding.
That's the problem. Is that it's
on both sides, by the way.
On both sides, it's become a war of either way, because in the one side of it where the people feel like they've lost the war. Well, we lost this one. You didn't lose shit. You got a bad show.
Yeah,
you had a bad show, and because the bad show didn't work, or you like the bad show, or you like the show that just didn't work for the amount of money that it was spent. In the same way that, guess what, guys, on the other side of it, you didn't win anything. There was a bad show that was made, and no one should be rooting for things to fail, especially if you actually do like Star Wars. I want Star Wars to get better. Star Wars stinks right now. It stinks. It stinks. It absolutely stinks. They have no idea what they're doing over there. It's a disaster. I don't root for it to be bad. Every show that comes out, I hope, is good. Every one.
Yeah.
And it's just, they don't know what they're doing. And that goes to the greater conversation.
Yeah.
What the hell do they do next? Because this skeleton crew thing has to be at least decent or hit what they're trying to go for.
Yeah.
Because we go back to exactly what we just said 5 minutes ago, John.
Yeah.
There's going to be the channels that are already going to start putting out videos about how much it's the worst, and it's just it's a kid show and this and this and this. But if it comes out and it's good and it overpowers that, then okay, look, maybe they should start making stuff that's a little bit more heartfelt than this, whatever, or just make good stuff. and they still don't know. We know one movie that's coming out, The Mandalorian and Grogu is the only thing we know. They still haven't announced that Rey movie.
Nope. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this from what I heard from a couple of other sources too, is then this has been the last few weeks. I think I've said this on other shows, is after this recent slate of stuff, they are gonna pause production on the movies and TV shows. That's what I'm hearing, that they're going to pause production, including the Rey movie and all these other. They're gonna pause it and take a look at this. I think the Acolyte really kicked them in the mouth. Do you know what I'm saying? I think they finally realized, wait, it was like Secret Invasion. They finally realized, okay, we got to stop for a second.
Who finally realized it? Lucasfilm or Disney? Who finally realized it?
Probably Iger. It was like
100%. 100% it was Iger.
Yeah. And so I'm telling everybody now, the two things. One, these three movies that are supposedly greenlit, I think are now in a state of flux. And I've never thought that up until this moment or this last couple of days. And two, I think for the first time ever, Kristian, and you know this, you can back me up on this. I have never called for Kathleen Kennedy to be fired. I've never thought she should step down. I never thought anything like that. I never bought into any of those narratives, right? But this is the first time where I thought that there's a real possibility that she may step down of her own free will and walk away from this, because clearly what she wants to do doesn't seem to be working overall artistically and with a lot of the fans. And so at the end of the day, you got to realize maybe it's time to change coaches because the team isn't responding to the coach anymore. And
the Yankees had A-Rod and Pettit and all these different people in 2009. They won one championship, one with the roster that they had.
That's right.
And Joe Girardi was on. I was watching the game the other day, and Girardi was talking about, he said, look, we just couldn't get it done. Guess what? Kathleen just couldn't get it done. That's what it is. She can't get it done. She hasn't. Her strategy isn't working. Look, I'm going to do a video. I'm doing a video, by the way, that I'm going to do the 6, whether 6 or 7 things. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Things to change Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm going to ruin it for everybody right away. Why they're even going to want to watch the video, because I'm giving it away. Regime change is the number one. It's the number one reason.
It's got to happen.
It needs, and I'll say this too. Filoni needs to either be, that position was not the position for him. He cannot be in charge of everything. He can't. You cannot put that guy in charge of everything. He should, a couple projects and those things, you can't put him in charge of everything. You need to change the tone of it all. You need to change it in general. It needs to be rewritten. It needs to be written better. It needs the whole thing. It needs a whole facelift. And if you're not going to sell it to Apple, you bring in I can't remember who this was. I think was it PLD? It might have been PLD. I'm not sure. Someone said, like, well, who would you want? It was PLD. He said, who would you want to run Star Wars? Like a Feige? And I said, well, not Feige. I said, but here's the thing. You didn't know who Feige was until Feige made you realize who he was.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just need an executive, like in their 30s or 50s, or he or she who just really cares about this in general, has a good business mind, but also knows how to put things in place to really push forward a narrative, get a writer's room, get everything together, make a couple of different projects, do essentially what James Gunn is trying to do right now. Now, whether or not that's going to work, we'll find out in a couple of years, but to put together a few projects to say, boom, 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 that's what we're doing. This is the first one. We're ready, and we're starting filming now. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you got to do. You got to just gut this whole thing because it's a disaster.
And stand behind your people. Stand behind your people. Stand behind your projects. Stand behind your creators. And I don't mean when you're promoting it, because everybody can do that. That's the base level of standing behind your projects and your creators. I mean, when the fans come after your creators or come after your actors or stand up and go after them. So you're defending the people on your team. That matters. That's important to have people come out and be vociferous in supporting the people that are on their team, because you're standing behind the content. This kind of putting it out there and then running away and then people attack it, not saying anything. That's a terrible.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that in general?
I mean, why does Ewan McGregor have to come out and defend Moses Ingram? That's ridiculous. Why isn't Kathleen Kennedy out there? Why isn't Dave Filoni talking about the Acolyte? Why isn't he on numerous podcasts saying, I'm proud of this show. I support this show. This is a great show. I had input in this show. I was able to do things. Why aren't more of those people coming out and going on all these shows and promoting this stuff? Daisy took hits. Kelly Marie Tran took hits. Boyega took hits. All these people have taken hits who've been part of the Star Wars universe. And at some point, someone put it in that Rolling Stone article, at some point, as a creator of color or as an LGBTQ creator, why the hell would you, or a woman, why the hell would you want to walk into these halls and take a chance on Star Wars when they're not willing to defend you when people come after you?
That's part of the regime change in
part
general. It's part of the regime change. It needs a regime change. It needs, like, if I'm Iger, I'm saying thank you for everything, guys. Thanks for the $1 billion movies. We're bringing in a whole new team.
Yeah.
This is the person that's running it now. Filoni, if you want to stay on, you can stay on, but this is the position that we have for you now. If not, great. If you want to run animation for us, perfect. If not, thank you. Shake your hand, boot you out the door. And then we got a couple other things. Here's a couple projects. We're going to take it in a little direction. Go this way. These are the movies that we want to do, and we're going to do this, and we'll take it step by step, because this is a property that we spent, $4 billion on.
$4 billion.
We made it back in the beginning, but we haven't made a movie since 2019. Our shows are consistently getting torn apart. There's only so much you can blame on a fan base. There's only so much you can blame on a fan base. It's like, yes, it's not healthy, and there are a lot of people, but in the same way that if Marvel was making this, Marvel is not on the height it was beforehand. But it's still not making these things where it's like everything is like, there's something like that. It was kind of a dud, or who cares? But one of these, like, every time you're just shaking your head, like, what the hell was that? Like, I couldn't believe me watching Star Wars in 2024 when that scene with that witch, fight me. I'm like, no, what are we doing here? What is this show? And it's like the decisions are just so bad all the way around. So that's what I think they need to do. That they have. The other thing that I will definitely bring inside of this video is adapting their damn books. It's like, you want good writing. You've got a ton of writers. You got Claudia Gray. You got Alexander Freed. You have all these different people that you can stick them in a writer's room. First of all, they should be part of that. They know Star Wars better than half the people making decisions in that freaking company. And then you adapt some of your books, get James Luceno, you get other people, you bring in Drew Karpyshyn to write the Nice Old Republic series. I mean, it's right in front of your face, and you're not
giving away the whole video, man. Stop giving away the whole video.
I because it's not about just the video, John. It's about trying to fix the damn team. The team needs a championship run. They need an Aaron Judge. They need an Aaron Joe Torre.
We need a Joe Torre to come in and whip these guys, a Phil Jackson to come in and whip these guys in
100%
and get great content out of them.
Well, it ain't over yet, John, because your buddy Jeff Sneider had some reports on this very, very topic.
Yeah.
And there's more stuff to it.
Yeah.
And new reports have gone more into the cancellation of the Acolyte, and they've indicated a rumor about Keanu Reeves being up for a role in the series, and that indeed was accurate. Jeff Sneider, or as Booker would say, Jeff Sneider, indicates a scheduling conflict reportedly prevented Reeves from signing on for the role of Master Soul, the part ultimately going to Squid Game star Lee Jung-jae. Lucasfilm still wants him for a Star Wars project, so expect plenty of speculation about that in the coming months and years. Regarding the Acolyte, showrunner Leslye Headland and the studio itself were reportedly planning a second season, and John Rocha reported the studio was putting together his writer's room. We talked about that. We discussed that just now. We heard it straight from the horse's mouth. And then it says, despite negative backlash from the fandom, the cancellation came down to one simple factor: viewership. The Insider reports indicates viewership collapsed following the first 2 episodes. That differs from something like Andor, where viewership steadily climbed throughout the season, making a second season rule more likely. Andor also benefited from the exceptional reviews, as opposed to much more mixed from the Acolyte. Concerns from some parts of the fandom are that the series may end up like Willow, being removed from the service with no other way to watch it. One can hope. So if you are talking about, let's go with that last part first before we hit the can of it all, right? So the reviews. I mean, not the reviews, the
viewership.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is what I was talking to my brother about this, about Andor, right? And he's like, yeah, I heard Andor didn't do that well. I was like, okay, this is what you have to understand about how streaming works, as opposed to, and I bring this up all the time, as opposed to like movie theaters. When you go to the movie theater, if opening weekend needs to have a big, strong opening weekend to really keep you in the theaters for a little bit. It's got to keep you, as long as you want to stay in the theaters for a bit, you got to have a good, strong weekend. I mean, Deadpool's going to be in the theater for a little longer. Then you look at something like Borderlands. I think it's already out on digital, right? Because it didn't do well. And you can lose money on movies very fast doing that, because people are going to decide, I'm going to spend my money to go see something this weekend, right? As opposed to streaming. I already pay X amount of dollars for Disney Plus, right? So Andor can be watched tomorrow and still their ratings will go up. right?
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica still gets ratings because it continues to be discovered by new audiences. Now, the reason that Andor continued to do better is because of exactly what they said. Viewership, word of mouth, critical response, word of mouth from viewers, and then nominations and all that. So I cannot tell you how many people said, oh, I didn't catch Andor when it was out, but I heard it was pretty good. Should I check it out? I was like, yes, check it out. And it was like 6 months later, a year later.
Yeah.
People will continue to do that. No one is going to do that with Acolyte. I heard it was really good. I'm going to go watch it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to build up. So the Acolyte, even though it started off in a position where, it was a little disappointing, it told you in that report, the reason it got renewed is because people kept watching it and it kept going back up. So if you check the streaming numbers now on that show, significantly different than what it was on episode 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's Deadline reported that, and Jeff reaffirmed that in his reporting as well. The first 2 episodes knocked out of the park, and then from the 3rd episode on, it was a steady decrease. And this is the thing that's important. For me, I had to kind of do a lot of research and then look through stuff over the weekend. And, my narrative, because I'm from the older generation, my narrative is if you want representation, when they represent you, you got to show up and patronize the content. You got to show up and show them that you believe in it 100%. But the newer generations now are like, we're not just going to show up because you put a Latino in it or a gay person in it or a woman in it. We're showing up if you make it good. And that's important when you look at it. And clearly, a lot of people from a number of audiences took a look at the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte and were out after the 2nd episode. They're like, you know what? This isn't for me. I don't like anything that's happening. I don't like the storylines, whatever they were trying to do this. I know it's groundbreaking and all of that. It's just not for me. And guess what? I've got a million other channels and a million other shows to watch that I can watch that also do representation, that also speak to the content or the life I'm living. And so that's the truth. I think there's plenty of people in those communities that they were representing who didn't watch the show after the 3rd episode or got around to it later.
Quality speaks volumes.
Quality. And that's the thing. And there's no bigger quality indicator at times than people not coming back after they sample the first 2 episodes of your show.
Now, if you look at the Keanu side of it now, not to pile on, but I'm glad this didn't happen. First of all, I think that they already had a great actor playing Saul, and I thought he was.
Lee John Jay was great.
What they did with the character was awful, but he was great. Yeah. And I also, I'm part of that whole thing. I wanted to see him actually play Revan, but I want to see him in something good. I want to see him in something like that's really and
You're talking Keanu.
I want to see Keanu in something really good. I want to see him. They're going to use that star power, use it on something that they really want to push forward. And you want to look. That's how, if you want to get the old Republic moving, and you want to push forward, what I thought they were going to do actually with like Carrie-Anne Moss, which they again tease you with that and give you nothing with her.
What a waste!
Wasted Daphne Keene. It just wasted both of them. But if you did that, if you brought in Keanu Reeves, you bring him in, whether it's Darth Revan or whatever it might be, and you bring him into the old Republic, that will get people who don't understand that time period or don't know what it is. Well, Keanu Reeves is in a Star Wars show. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
And that to me makes more sense. So I'm glad that he wasn't in this, because you could have seen, you can make the argument, well, that could have been the thing for the High Republic, but it's like, but that's the quality of the show. I don't think was good for Keanu.
Brother, you and I have been around Hollywood for a long time, multiple decades now.
I left.
You know this. Scheduling difficulties, can sometimes couch. I read this script and I know this is not good. I don't want to be a part of it.
So thank you.
It's very clear, at least to me, it's very clear that you can consider it as a possibility, seeing how the show went down, that Keanu took a look at this and read the scripts and was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me, and I'm not going to shine. And I don't like what you're doing with this character, and I don't like where he ends up by the end of the show.
Call me for something else.
Yeah, call me for something else. And I think for me personally, that's what I think happened. And scheduling is what they use, dehydration, which also means drug use. So, we know the buzzwords by now, living in the town or having been in that town for so long. And to me, that's what I think happened here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it to me makes it's a good thing for them in general, because they can use that star power for something else and not this show. So, all right, there's tons there, guys. There's tons. So what do you think about all of it? Do you think that, this is something that will continue. This conversation is going to go on. Do you think that at this point, and I'm very curious, I know, as John said, there are more and more people like John that are coming, because I jumped on the more so of the Kathleen Kennedy is a good producer, doesn't really know what she's doing with Star Wars. I probably jumped on that train 4 or 5 years ago. But there's more and more people who are starting to come to the idea, not just her, because it's more than just her.
Yeah.
She got a team around and they're all making bad decisions too.
Yep.
Do you think it's time that they say, okay, let's move on here? The Iger just needs to gut this whole thing, bring in a whole bunch of new people and start it from scratch. But I will tell you this, before I jump over that too, what I want to say there, you know who needs to not be touched at all and needs to continue and maybe even promote it? The teams that are making the video game stories, like the Jedi Survivor, right? The teams that are making Visions, like the animated stuff that they're doing, that they're doing it right. They got it on lock. Maybe because no one's bothering them. Maybe that's why. But that's what I would tell you. I would tell you, stick with them.
We're entering into a Sony Studio situation where the animation is great, but everything else is falling apart.
Yeah. Everybody else needs to be gutted. And I'm curious what you guys think. Go ahead and put your comments in there for sure. All right, listen. We have a lot to talk about because there's so much more. The box office. You talk about stinkers. Oh man, The Crow didn't even hit the top 10, I don't think. Maybe I think they just hit the top 10, but PUC. But before we get into it, I got to tell you guys about our good friends over at both Built and BetterHelp. Let me tell you. Here you go. All right, you know what stinks? When you're stuck in a loop of rent payments, you're just watching your money vanish into thin air. It's the worst. It's time to turn the rent game around and start earning some serious rewards. How do you do that? That is where Built Rewards comes in. Built is breaking ground as the first rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Doesn't matter, even if you're rocking the old school rent check vibes, Built Rewards, it's got your back. They're going to mail the check for you. It's like basically having a personal rent paying assistant. It's the best. Every month, you pay your rent and you watch the points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points towards a flight or a hotel stay with 500 plus airlines and 700,000 plus hotels and properties. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/bigthing. That is joinbilt.com/bigthing. So use the show's. All right, you know what stinks? When you're stuck in a loop of rent payments, you're just watching your money vanish into thin air. It's the worst. It's time to turn the rent game around and start earning some serious rewards. How do you do that? That is where Built Rewards comes in. Built is breaking ground as the first rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Doesn't matter, even if you're rocking the old school rent check vibes, Built Rewards, it's got your back. They're going to mail the check for you. It's like basically having a personal rent paying assistant. It's the best. Every month, you pay your rent and you watch the points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points towards a flight or a hotel stay with 500 plus airlines and 700,000 plus hotels and properties. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/bigthing. That is joinbilt.com/bigthing. So use our URL so they know that we sent you. That's joinbuilt.com/bigthing. Start earning points with your rent payments today. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What is something that you would love to learn? You know, I was thinking about this. As an adult, do we really make time to learn new things as often as you would want to? Or do you lose that in childhood? Kids are always learning. They're always growing. As a dad, I see it all of the time. But when you get older, you're so busy and thinking about other things that we kind of lose that curiosity. Therapy, it can help you. It helps you reconnect with that sense of wonder because your back to school era can come at any age. When you are talking to someone and you have a conversation and you realize about things that you have lost, it is crucial to be able to talk about that with somebody. So I can tell you from people in my family that have been talking to people from BetterHelp, there are things that have just woken up people to say, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And even talking to Roxy, who talks about BetterHelp on the show all the time, that's exactly what happened to her. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's online, it's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You switch therapists anytime, no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. You got to visit betterhelp.com/bigthing today. You'll get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/big thing. What an idiot I am. Hit the freaking button twice on that thing. Sorry. But what I will tell you is thank you to both our friends over at BetterHelp and Built. As I mentioned each and every time, you want to help out the show and you can help out the show, then you really should get something wonderful for yourself. And that's why we give you our two wonderful sponsors today.
Bang, bang.
I froze. Do you hear me? Oh, there we go. There's a couple different things, John, that's going on with the show I mentioned up top. So I'm pretty sure, just working on, I think they were going to change the name of the show.
Uh-oh. To what?
I'm going to make it simple. I'm just going to call it the Kristian Harloff Show.
Oh, seems good.
I think I'm just going to.
Is it going to feature John Rocha on Mondays, or what's it? What's the?
Yeah, sure. Why not? But we're gonna. I think that there's a couple things I need to change. But we're working on. I think we're just going to call it the Kristian Harloff Show.
Let's use this. Use that.
That's it. So I have to. But I'm working. I got to talk to a few different people to make that happen. But I think it's easy. It's simple. It's on brand.
Yeah.
And I've never really had that before.
Smart move. Do it.
Yeah. So I think that just a few things will have to happen, but we'll see. I got the Clips channel, the Kristian Harloff Clips channel. I got Down to Earth Kristian Harloff. Might as well just keep it in brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why not? It's a smart move. I agree. Do it.
Yeah. Did you see any of that stuff with the Lou Elizondo? Did you see that?
No. What is that? What are you talking about?
Crazy that the mainstream media. I got to send that to you. He was on both. He was both on Rogan. He was just on News Nation. This is the guy that was he ran the UAP program for under Harry Reid, and he was the reason that the whole thing happened with the leak inside of the 2017 news article. Wow. He wrote this book, and he had this long interview with both Rogan. He had a long interview with News Nation. It's the stuff that he says is just. Wow. I got to send it to you because it's great. Anyway, so there was something else I was going to say. I think that what's going on with you? What's going on this week?
The Outlaw Nation channel. Yeah, we just put up our Christopher Reeve. I don't know if you guys have seen the Super/Man Christopher Reeve's trailer that dropped today. Just did my trailer reaction for that one today. Might be going live later on with a new episode of The Nation, talking about stuff that's going on in the world. Some reviews of stuff I've seen. I finished off Bad Monkey. I can't give a full review of it, but I can tell you that I enjoyed the hell out of that. So if you want to come and watch me later on today, I'll do that. But we got, of course, Geek Buddy stuff coming up here real soon. The Hot Mic this week is at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, not Thursday. Jeff has a couple of commitments on Thursday, so come and join us then. I'm sure we've got a new Jedi Way coming as well this week, talking about all the stuff that's been reported, all the madness that's going on in the world. And Winston and I are certainly going to lock it up again for a little spill, the tequila, over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha says. Come on, hang out on the Outlaw Nation, for God's sakes. Come on.
Lock it up. You lock it up.
Lock it up.
Lock it up. So that's it. We got a lot to talk about here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's keep going.
Yeah.
Moving on. We got this is a sad state of affairs when it comes to the box office. Deadpool and Wolverine does it again.
There it is.
Again. It's at the moment, what did it make? That's a terrible screenshot. I'm gonna have to bring up the screenshot in general. But it's got this is your top 10. You got Deadpool, Wolverine, Alien Romulus, It Ends With Us, Blink Twice, The Forge, whatever that is, Twisters, Coraline, The Crow, Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2. The Crow, John, $4 million, barely $5 million on an opening weekend in August. Coraline, a movie that is 15 years old, made $5 million. Twisters, which has been out of the theater for 75 weeks, $6.6 million. Blink Twice. What is that? That Blink Twice that's the Blake Lively movie, right?
Well, the Zoe Kravitz movies.
Okay.
It Ends With Us is the
I see. Oh, there you go. Okay, so both those movies did better. $7 million for Blink Twice. It Ends With Us at 11.8. Alien Romulus at 16.2, and Deadpool Wolverine 18.3. I think, and I'm going to be as nice as possible
Sure.
in saying this, this should prove that Rupert Sanders can't direct anymore.
Wow.
The guy, I mean, the guy just continued. I mean, what did he do? He did the Snow White thing. He did. I mean, it's like
the Japanese anime one.
Yeah,
with
no more.
Ghost in the Shell. That's right, Ghost.
And no more. No, you're not allowed. You lost. We gave you a shot to come back. No more.
I don't know, man.
You can't.
Yeah, I know it's fair.
Come on. I mean, there have been way better directors that have been put in director's jail for way. I mean, look what happened to poor Gavin Hood.
Yeah,
after that movie. And Gavin Hood's a great director.
I love Gavin Hood. I got a chance to sit down with him at Collider. Great director,
great director, and was bullied on that damn movie by Fox.
Yeah, the X-Men Wolverine,
and got stuck in director's jail for God knows how long.
Yeah, such crap, man. He's such a good guy. And that one he did with Keira Knightley from a few years ago was fantastic.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a shame.
All right, so give me something Rupert Sanders did that's decent.
Nothing. One episode of Foundation. Okay,
what movie has he done that has worked?
Nothing. Ghost in the Shell was okay.
How's he keep getting work?
The Snow White Huntsman. Because I guess he's a good talker in the room. I guess maybe they're looking for someone who has a track record of doing action films that are okay.
If you got
doesn't go over the budget.
The Crow is one of the most cursed movies of all time. After everything that happened, obviously with Brandon Lee. And then after that, like every sequel has been not good. Every reboot. I remember back on Schmoes No, we were talking about a Crow reboot with Norman Reedus.
Yeah, that's how long ago.
They've been trying to do reboots for this thing forever, and nobody can get it right. So if you get to a place like this goes back to the same stuff we're talking about with business. If you're going to bring back an IP, you've got to get somebody that is like, okay, someone like he's not going to do it right now, obviously, but someone like a Fede Alvarez, somebody who's just who it's like, look, this guy did this, this woman did this, they did this thing, and if they can do that for the Crow, what do you say for him? Well, if you can make it like that one scene in that movie that almost was good. It's like you got. I mean, if it's another movie, it's an original IP type thing. You're taking a shot with this guy, fine. Maybe it's the thing that gets him out. But if you're going to try to reboot The Crow, you got to come out, pun intended, guns blazing.
Yeah. And here's what's crazy: like there were some positive reviews for this thing. That's the crazy part of it all. And they still Variety gave it a positive review. Newsday gave it a positive review. The AP critic gave it a positive review. That's kind of shocking. That it had some trades that were behind this film and still only made $4 million. I think it also
something out real quick. Just point something out real quick. Someone said, "Well, Fede Alvarez didn't. All he did was cherry pick the Alien franchise. He was not all that." But wait, even if that's true, guess what he did? He cherry picked it, put together a movie that worked really well, had the rhythms of what the franchise was, had people excited about it, and made a lot of money. So I'm hiring Fede Alvarez to do that again. So if the structure is looking at again, like you can have your criticisms on the movie, whatever you want to say, but you're looking at it, what justifies a success and a failure.
Yeah. So
cherry pick all you want if it's a success.
Yeah.
And the failure is what just came out. The movie made $4.4 million. John and I could shoot a commercial about a water bottle and a cup of coffee.
Sure.
And you put the right person in there with the marketing. You have a studio behind it. You got a shot at putting out $4.4 million.
Here's the sad part of this all. The Crow, City of Angels, which was the sequel to The Crow, which did not, of course, feature the return of Brandon Lee because he was sadly died on the production. That made $9.7 million on its opening weekend, more than double than what this remake made, for God's sakes. And that should tell you volumes about it. But it isn't just Rupert. I also think, look, Bill Skarsgård's a good actor. Don't get me wrong. But he is not a lead of a franchise that you need to be banking on to reboot this. Momoa had circled this for years. I've done everything possible to make sure Momoa was the lead. That's banked in money, for God's sakes.
They didn't know what they were doing with this thing at the end. They were like, "Oh, we have an IP. Let's try to make some money off of it." The kid, he's Skarsgård's a really good actor, which he is. He's fantastic.
Yes, of course.
I thought he was great in the John Wick movie, the last one.
As a villain. Yep.
He's great. He's a great actor. But yes, he's not going to get people getting excited to go see a Crow movie. It's got to, unless it is put together in a very well written, directed film, then you're like, because then it'll showcase what he's able to do. Doesn't matter how good of an actor he's in, if he's trying to showcase subpar material. Look, and I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen it. I didn't mind the trailers. When I saw the trailers, I actually liked the trailers. But I was clearly in the minority then, and I haven't seen the movie. But from everybody, even people who I knew who liked the trailer, said the movie was just not good.
Yeah.
But that's not good. That is a really, really difficult thing. But the rest of it, Deadpool and Wolverine right now currently sits at $1.2 billion. Alien Romulus currently sits at a worldwide total of 225. Made 72 domestic thus far. Not bad. It Ends With Us is an absolute juggernaut, regardless of the controversy or not.
Can't deny.
$242 million on a $25 million budget. Is that what it was? Something like that? $50 million budget? Something like that.
Yeah.
$242 million. That is a massive hit. Blink Twice. Oh, that's the Channing Tatum one. Right. Okay. So 14 million worldwide on its first weekend. And then The Forge, that's the one I didn't know. Which one's after graduating from high school without any plans for the future, Isaiah receives a push to start making better life decisions. Don't know anything about it, but 6 points.
Christian biblical film.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, it came out to see it. 6.6 million. Probably didn't cost very much to make it all. So then you're not going to 5 million. You're not going to have, and those movies have legs if they do well in general. Those movies have legs continuously. So I will tell you that I think that this now get out of the way, because here comes Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Yeah.
You have a screening for that yet?
Yes, I do. I think it's Monday or Tuesday. Yeah.
Of next week.
Next week. Yeah.
Okay. I gotta follow up on that one. Yeah. So that's gonna be the one that kicks base. Kicks ace. Base. So we'll see.
This is tough. It's getting tougher. God, I don't want to whine like a bitch, but it's getting tougher for me, man. When I know a film is not going to be good, I don't go to the screenings. And then when I hear they're not good, I don't even go and watch it and try and do a review. Like I am so trying to force myself to go see The Crow today because I've got time this afternoon, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because I don't want to. But then again, if I'm going to do the live show, then I got to go. I just don't want to put myself through it, dude. I have so many hours. I have only so many hours left in my life. Do I want to fill it with films that are terrible? I don't know, man. I'm starting to lose a little faith on some of this stuff, you know.
Well, also it's the time of the month that we're in. Man.
It is my time.
Yeah, this is your time of the month. But at the time of the year that we're in right now, it's like August has been awful. Dog shit. It's just been awful. I mean, and not just in movies, TV, like everything. There's just nothing going on right now.
Yeah, so September. We're crawling to September, Kristian.
Like this.
We're in the water paddling like Dreyfus and Scheider at the end of Jaws to get to the shore.
It's brutal. August has been brutal all the way around, but there's tons of stuff coming out, and I'm excited to see how it does. But
agreed.
We have I guess we have like one more story that we really could cover here today. And just to let everybody know, I see that we already have a ton of questions, so that's why we're going to kind of cut the topics off. And if you want to put your topics and your questions in, we'll get to them. We'll be here until the end of it. So the next topic, John, that we have here, let's see. I'll let you pick. So we can talk about Heat 2. We can talk about Tarantino saying he will not watch Toy Story 4.
I kind of like the Tarantino story. What's the other one?
That one? The other one was the Jimmy Olsen picture, or Spader returning as Ultron.
I prefer the Tarantino, but we can hit the Spader one quickly before we jump into questions.
All right. Well, let's start with this Tarantino one.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino, I think he was on Bill Maher or something. He said refuses to watch Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Pixar's Toy Story films have been universally praised, with all 4 movies scoring near perfect numbers on Rotten Tomatoes. They got 100%, 100%, 98%, and 97%. Wow, that's pretty damn good. I didn't realize the fourth one did 97. Nonetheless, the fourth one is seen as the weakest of the bunch. 97%, I'll take it. Mostly because it was essentially unnecessary, especially in the wake of the third film serving as a trilogy capper. One person who's not a fan is Quentin Tarantino, who appeared on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast. He says he believes there are only two perfect trilogies in cinema: Sergio Leone's The Man with No Names film and the Toy Story film. As a result, he refuses to watch the fourth one, believing it will ruin a perfect trilogy. He says, I'm a big fan of the Toy Story trilogy. The third one is just magnificent, and it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. If you've seen the other two, then that's just devastating. The thing is, 3 years later or something like that, they did a fourth one, and I have no desire to see it. You literally ended the story as perfect as you could, so no, I don't care if it's good. I'm done. The talk comes as a fifth Toy Story is in the works, as Pixar, who had a disappointment with the franchise in the form of a what-if spin-off, Lightyear. The comments have led to plenty of discussion about what else could be considered a perfect trilogy, even if it is one with a larger franchise. So what I'll say about this is, I understand what he's saying. I understand. It's like he loves the movie so much. He loved 1, 2, and 3, and he doesn't want to taint it because as a creator and as a storyteller, he's good with it. And he said, I'm done. I don't need to see it. I'm out. That's fine. It's fine. Now, but it's one of those things, though, in the same business conversation we're having here, as they said before in this thing. Well, why are they making this movie? You know, it's a perfect bow because it made money. And not only did it make money, they did the concern, a valid concern, is, are you just making this movie to make money? Or is there an actual story to tell? In my opinion, there was a story to tell.
Yeah.
And I thought it made sense. It makes all the sense in the world why they would make a fifth one, because whatever they did with Lightyear, that movie was an absolute bomb as far as money went.
It was.
So that is something now that they have to remedy. So this is, but the comments for Tarantino, I didn't take any. I didn't take any. Whatever. He's allowed to say that.
You know what? You just want to get him on your show, and I totally respect that. But here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Well, listen, Toy Story 4 made $1 billion. So whatever your complaints are, the thing made $1 billion, and like you said, 97%. It's only just a few people who feel like it was like, why did they do it? Why did they do whatever? Because the film made $1 billion. So clearly, not a lot of you had an issue. Not enough of you had an issue with it, that it sank the film or anything like that. So it is fine. That's why you do a fifth one. And yes, the Lightyear, certainly that's a part of it for sure. But like, I think also they have a story to tell and they want to make money. That's how business works. We're going to get a good script and we're going to make money off of this. Because I think coming off of what just happened here with them, with the Inside Out 2, clearly if they put a script together, nobody gives a shit that it's, a money grab, because the film is good. And again, we go back to what we talked about earlier, quality, right? But look, I love QT. I respect QT. But sometimes QT, man, you cannot decide what is a trilogy, what isn't a trilogy if it isn't a trilogy anymore. That's not how it works. That's not how it works in any way, shape, or form. Right. You can decide it for yourself, of course. You get your own personal.
I think that's what he's doing.
But it's not a trilogy.
But I think that's what he's doing. I think he's saying for him, that's the perfect trilogy. In the same way,
you can't compare it to. There wasn't a fourth Man with No Name movie. You can't.
I know. Look, the same way that like Indiana Jones to me is 3 movies. It's 3 movies. But I understand that there's 5. But there's 3. There's 3 movies.
Godfather's only 2. Godfather's only 2.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, I understand it. I don't take like, oh, what's he talking about? Oh,
of course. Yeah,
I don't.
But I love that he's willing to.
Yeah, me too.
Jump into the story. And of course, Mar has never watched any of them. Of course
he hasn't. Of course, he's too cool. He's too cool.
He's too cool.
He smells like potato farts. All right, so let's go to the next one. This is James Spader. Strings. Spader is returning as Ultron for the Vision series. Emmy winner James Spader will return to the MCU, reprising his role of the voice of Ultron in Marvel Studios' currently untitled Vision TV series. Paul Bettany is reprising his role as Vision in the follow-up WandaVision, which is expected to follow the fully white Vision we saw at the end of this show as he searches for a new purpose in life. Terry Matalas, who scored much acclaim for his showrunner work on the 3rd season of Picard, is in charge of the new season, which has been nicknamed Vision Quest. Ultron was the villain of 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron film, a peacekeeping AI created by Tony Stark that became corrupted by the Mind Stone and sought to wipe out humanity. Ultron created Vision, but the Avengers took him and gave him consciousness with the remains of the AI program Jarvis, ultimately turning into a being who helped the Avengers. Ultron was seemingly destroyed at the film's end. The Vision series plans to film in England in early 2025. There's so many different things about this show. Whoops, hey, look at him. It's Vision. Strange. So one of the things is that the writer's strike obviously pushed this thing back. They didn't know what they were going to do with it. At one point, it was like, oh, it's not going to happen. It got greenlit early when all this stuff was happening with it. Let's just greenlight everything. And then they decided they were going to do it. Maybe they realized it's some more characters from the old regime. They needed that a little bit more. What I will say is that someone reached out to me recently. He's like, oh, what do you think? How do you think this is going to play out with how Ultron's coming back? How's that going to work? And I said, well, they never really explained anything past that What If series. And that was great what they did in What If. They have to probably tie it in with What If, hopefully, because that's the first season. Everybody thought the What If season was going to be tied into Doctor Strange and not even acknowledged. Like the What If was clearly just like an animated series that they pushed off to the side and said, oh yeah, this is like fun stuff, but it doesn't really have to do with anything. And that sucked. So hopefully this Ultron side of it with the Watcher and all that actually does play, because I thought that stuff they did with Ultron was great.
I liked Ultron. Look, Age of Ultron is not a great Marvel movie, but certainly I think it's got a lot of rewatchable parts, rewatchable sections. And certainly James Spader is a massive reason, because he's such a fantastic actor. By the way, somebody pointed out that he hasn't done a role besides Ultron and The Blacklist since like 2016. That's the life, son. That's
100%. Yeah, he probably just doesn't want it, doesn't need to.
Yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to. And speaking of trilogies, this would be the third, because they're calling this an unofficial trilogy with WandaVision, Agatha, and then this Vision series. So seeing him come back, it makes sense, because there was a battle between them through Age of Ultron, and at the end they have that awesome exchange about the future of humanity between the two before Ultron is wiped out. So the fact that he's still around somewhere, I think, is great. And this is, once again, bring back Robert Downey Jr., bring back James Spader. This is going to start happening more and more, that they're bringing back people from
even Vision. They're bringing Vision his own series, bringing them back. Exactly, of course they are, because they need to go back to the stuff. Look, this is what I will say about it. Are they doing the greatest hit stuff? Yes. Is it right in the same conversation we were having about Toy Story, though, right? Is it right for them to do financially? Time will tell. We will find out. Right. In the same way that Deadpool 3 made the most out of all three of those movies, and look at the people they brought back, the same way that No Way Home did all that. Look who they brought back. As much as you want to say, oh, here we go again with member berries, they pay the bills. And so if you do it the right way, and it's still, again, decent, and they put together this Vision series in the same way that we were talking about before, make quality stuff, it'll pay off. All right, John, tons of comments.
Let's do it.
Tons of comments from people. So thank you for everybody who has put in comments, or the super chats rather. We are going to, and all the comments, obviously, but the super chats, we're going to go through all of them right now. And if you guys want to throw in any of those comments, throw them in there right now. We will be here until the last one has been read. That's what we do on this every Monday. So we'll go through. We have 32 of them. 32. Wow. When we started, we already had like 12 before the show even began. So we're going to start with Johnny Venerable, who says, post Acolyte's failure, do you think there's concern to move forward with the Rey movie? Fair or not, Lucasfilm needs fan base unity, not divisiveness. Yes, that's what I've been saying. 100%. I do. Yes, because fair or not, and I hate to keep saying this, because it's not, because there are things that are fought for truthfully and right. But you also have to understand business. And it's the same thing I hammered down again. If you are making a movie or a television show for $30 million, $40 million, you can aim it to whoever you want to, and aim it at one point and say, this is who we're talking to. I don't give a crap if anybody else likes it. That's it. And it makes you some money off of it also. Great. You spent $30-40 million. You made a profit on it. You message film, whatever you want to do. You can do that. When you are making a $200 million franchise film, you don't have that luxury. You just don't, because you have to get everyone to spend the money. So you have to say, okay, how do we make a movie for everyone? Even the people we don't like, how do we make it for everybody? And so the question is, and I don't know, maybe they were doing that with the Rey movie, but I don't think the director was doing herself any favors with the interviews that she was giving. And I think that I think that one's on hold for a little bit. I think if anything, Sean Levy or Mangold gets the next call, or even Filoni's movie, but probably not. I would say Levy is probably the first shot, then Mangold, and then Filoni, and then the Ray movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at Sean Levy, who just made you $1 billion plus on a Deadpool Wolverine movie, how are you not considering his Ray script, over Charmin Obaid-Chinoy? And
does he have a Ray script?
That's
wait a minute.
No, I'm not.
No. You already stepped in it.
Nope.
You just stepped in it.
Nope. I'm
a Ray script.
From what I've heard is
John.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm just saying that. I don't know anything. I don't know.
Oh, you do. You rat.
I've heard that Sean has a script, or is working on a script that may be attached to Ray in some way. And I don't think
makes
that's
sense, though, dude.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if that's news. I think people have intimated at that, like an older Ray or whatever. There's possibilities there.
Well, I thought that was Lindelof with the older Ray.
Yeah, but also I think that's
more than you're leading up to. I don't like it.
Here's the thing. I got in trouble with the anti-woke side of Star Wars when I defended Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, because I told them all to reach down in their pants and find their balls, and I think I stand behind those comments. But I think more than ever now, Kristian, I think she's in doubt to continue on the Ray movie as a director.
I don't think
so. I don't.
Give me something. Come on.
I can't.
Give me something. Come on. All the stuff we've been through. Come on.
I think.
Give me one.
I hear there's been multiple passes on that script, and someone is getting tired of doing multiple passes on that script. That's all I'm going to say. So that's what I'm hearing. And again,
all right,
again, from sources. And
but yet again, dude, go back to my number one point: regime change. This keeps happening. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's like, you put someone through the system and it just happens. It's like they bounce back and forth. Someone gets upset. It's not they're overworked. It's like, it's a joke. They need to be replaced. Hank Pym, Cuckoo, Blink Twice, and Strange Darling. Some really good horror thrillers this month. Have you guys checked any of them out? I have not. And that is probably because, like I said, I'm sure you've had some pretty good horror movies, and I will say that's probably great for people too. I haven't heard a lot of buzz on them. That doesn't mean that they're not good. But no, I haven't really seen them. Have you?
No, I haven't seen any of those, and maybe those are the ones I should go see instead of shoving my ass into seeing The Crow, that remake. Maybe I should go see Cuckoo, and I should go see Long Legs. I should go see Sorry No, especially the because I saw a lot of people telling me that's a good one too. So maybe I'll spend this week and go and see these films and jump over to the theater here close to my house and watch them, because I want to see them. Yeah.
All right. So this is Sean Pedersen looking back. Thoughts on rise and fall of the online movie space. I love Schmoes, Collider, and Screen Junkies, but knew once big corporations came in, they were doomed. Glad you guys are still killing it. Thank you, Sean. Very kind of you. Yeah, I think we've had this. I don't know if we had this conversation necessarily on this show, but we've talked about it before. What I think happened at one point was that you look at like the YouTuber that would talk into the camera, and they would what Mark and I were doing, what Jeremy Johns was doing, what Stuckman was doing, what everybody was doing there. That is what the audience came for first. And then, as they mentioned, then companies got involved and said, well, we want to do that too, but we want to make it into like the kind of news organizations with those kind of online pundits and do that. And they started building it out, but there was no real financial plan to keep that going with that many people. And then eventually the fans also said, yeah, I don't think I like that as much anymore. They did it first, but then they said, I don't know if I like it as much anymore. I think I like to go back. And it went back to what we're doing now. We're doing in general, because it feels more inviting. It was always one of those things. I always felt more comfortable with this. And Fernandez and I used to have the conversation where he said to me when they were doing, he's like, I feel like you're like the last of the YouTubers that we like have here, like as far as YouTubers go, because it's just not, the rest want to be pundits or turn movies into like, it always felt too serious for me. You know what I mean? It always felt like, we were trying to do world news with movie news and like breaking facts of like, and it's like, it's movie news, and it's fun, but and so I think that's what happened.
Yeah, it was the mixture of egos, which is you got to have that to succeed in this business, in any business. Egos, people wanted to be taken seriously for their reporting, and it's like you're reporting on fantasy characters and fantasy stuff is not, and none of it is real, but it's real to the people who watch it, obviously, in terms of the effect the movies have on them. So it's fun, but like you've got to keep it fun to turn it into such a serious thing, and then say, well, we can't say this or we can't say that, and a number of, and we just saw comicbook.com, Brandon left comicbook.com. That's a big shakeup now because a corporation took it over and is making changes. So yeah, I think these corporations came in and they've changed some things. Even Penske and what they're doing with a lot of the trades, like there are certain articles you can write and certain articles you can't write. And this is the better approach of freedom and a feeling like we can say whatever we want, what we believe, what we hear, what we see, and not be worried about, oh, why'd you say that? Because now this actor or this studio will work with us. It's not.
Well, that was one of the things that people always wonder, like, why? Because I have been not the people, and I always preface it by saying not the people that I did the show with, but at all the shows that I've ever done, I think I hate Collider Live the most, and I hate it. I hate that show more than anything. And people are like, why don't I understand why you hate that show? Because I was that in Jedi Council. I was told well, you can't do this, don't do that. You got to make sure you do this. I'm like, that's not.
No.
It's the stuff that we're doing, on the fly that the fans are really enjoying. So I don't focus that much on that and the fart jokes and this, and don't do that and don't do this. And so if you stay with this person, it's like, forget it. And then you'd walk out of that room and you'd have a really good show. And then you basically, it felt like almost like high school. You walk out into the lobby and they're not even talking to you. And it's like, we just put 1.1 million on CM Punk's clip. No, that's not good. No, okay, I'll see you later. Bye. Yeah, and so like that kind of stuff. Like, no, I'm all right. Anyway, so there's a lot more to it. Now, this is from Mike Joyce. Rewatch Prometheus. That movie gets too much hate. Everyone would have fared much better if they weren't horny idiots. How many conflicts happen because people are too horny for their own good? Yeah, that's true. People do get taken out because they're all horn dogs. I don't remember Prometheus enough, except the fact that I didn't like it as much, but I haven't revisited it in quite a while.
Yeah, I think it's full of good concepts, but the execution a lot of times, and that weird accent that Idris Elba is doing, and the Charlize Theron stuff doesn't really work overall. So there's a lot in that film that's like, why is all of this in here?
I didn't even remember that she was even in that movie.
Yeah, she's a big part of the movie.
Yeah, you're right. I remember now that you said it. All right, you and I have been getting along pretty much this whole episode, right?
Oh.
It's about to change.
Bring it on.
All right. So Hank Pym. Julia Roberts looks like dirt compared to Pew, is what Hank says. Okay. And we're going to follow this up. Just wait a minute. And then Pete Parker, 2288, says the Julia Roberts discussion had me dying last week. She's pretty, but saying she has curves is a little crazy. I was always more of an Ashley Judd fan. All right. So let's start with this. The whole conversation that we had last week about Julia Roberts in her prime and Florence Pugh, who is currently in her prime. Both wonderful. But John talked to me like I was a crazy person for saying Julia Roberts, movie star of our generation. And this is what we're talking about here. Where is it?
Where is it?
Hold on. Somewhere. I can't find it. There it is.
There it is. Make it full screen. Can you make it full screen?
Oh, I can't. I didn't full screen.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're looking at.
I went to community college with the one on the left.
You're a lunatic.
I went to Harvard with the one.
You're a lunatic. You're an absolute lunatic. I told my wife that you said this, and she looked at me like I was.
Your wife looks like Julia Roberts. It's not.
So what are you saying about my wife then? What are you saying about my wife, John?
It's a good thing. I don't find her attractive. There's nothing wrong. She's objectively an attractive person. I don't find your wife attractive. There's nothing wrong with it.
Whoa! Now you're getting red in the face from those conversations that you're saying. Now you owe me another scoop.
You put me on a spot.
Now you owe me another scoop.
No. For you to benefit, I don't get any benefit from it. Come on.
Hey, you do. I'm paying you now.
Pay for the scoop. I love it. No. I mean, it's of course these are objective. And before anyone gets nuts about of course we're factoring the talent. That's a massive part of all of this, of course. But no, to me, it's all, of course, it's subjective, right? And I just find Florence much more attractive than I ever found Julie, who objectively, of course, is attractive. I just don't find her attractive. There's a difference.
Gosh darn smoke show. All right, here we go. Shay Markel, The Crow. The movie was a 1.5. Wow.
1 out of 5. Wow.
1 out of 5. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Lots of telling, not enough showing. Skarsgård and Houston are the best parts. The film had flashes of fleeting genius, a really disappointing misfire. Any thoughts, fellas? And you're the only one of the three of us that's seen it.
Yeah.
Well,
So we'll go with your opinion.
Well, I was in Florida,
Yeah.
and I was there for a couple of days, and I was going to actually go and try to. This was the conversation, very similar to what you were just talking about before, John. I was with my dad, and I was helping him out, some stuff around the house, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to go see this. It was a Thursday night. I'll go see The Crow, do an out of the theater reaction, and then my brother texted me. He's like, hey, Mom's in town with me too. Do you want to go meet us for dinner? And I said, do I want to see The Crow, or do I want to see my brother and my mom? I had a nice group, and I went and had a good meal, and I don't regret it at all.
No,
because especially now that I'm going to do these rewatches and everything too. I was saying, Matt, Sarah, and I watching The Crow could be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's a great pairing for that one.
That could be a lot of fun. So I think Matt, Sarah, and I will probably do that together. Watch that,
Yeah.
dude. I just did his show. We just did the first episode for his show.
Oh, nice.
And he had on. I don't know if you remember Phoenix Carnival. She did some. Jen wasn't available to do one of our New York post game things, and she came in because she's a New Yorker, and she came in. She was great. She does MMA reporting. She's really, really good.
Cool.
And so her and Matt did the first episode, and they break down from worst to best the X-Men films.
Wow,
it's great. It's a great episode. Yeah, Matt is not short on personality. All right, so
yeah,
it's me, Steve-O. Saw The Union, pure shit. What happened to Marky Mark?
Oh yeah.
So strangely enough, speaking of my beautiful wife, who looks like the beautiful Julia Roberts, so she watched this. I did not see it, and she shares the sentiment of Steve-O and says it's garbage. Did you see this thing?
No, of course not. It's Marky Mark on streaming. I don't watch anything Marky Mark on streaming. One of my really good friends' kids are the babies in the Family Plan movie with him and Michelle Monaghan.
That was fun.
I still didn't watch that.
That was a fun movie. That was a fun movie.
He's hurt me so many times. That Paramount film was terrible. Paramount Plus film was horrible.
Which one was that?
I can't forget what it was called. Like some DNA mixing thing, whatever it was called.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. That's right. Yeah, it was terrible. That was
horrible.
That's right. What the hell was that? What was that called? I remember. Yes, I remember because I remember being excited for it.
Yes,
and just being let down. That's right.
Yeah. I was like, Marky Mark, this is interesting. Let's play with this. And you watch it like, wow, this is horrible. Yeah. So he's done way more misses streaming. So I don't take a chance.
I can't tell you that you're wrong for thinking that. Anthony M72, do you think that Lucasfilm should do another animated series in the style of Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, get Filoni back to doing what he's best? I would love to. It's so funny because years ago, I was always on the live action.
I know.
I always wanting him to do something. And now I kind of want him to go back to animation. I think he shoots. I think he writes for animation, even when he's writing for live action. I think I think he directs in animation, even when he's directing in live action. I think that his strength is in animation. I think he puts together really good stories. The stuff that he did in Rebels and Clone Wars was phenomenal. I would love to see him go back, but I think we're too far past that now. And I think that he's, if you look at in Game of Thrones, he's not going to let the throne up that easy.
Yeah, it's like John Woo, right? When John Woo's Hong Kong stuff is fantastic. Yeah. When John Woo came to America, he tried to put his Hong Kong aesthetic onto American Western films, and it doesn't work. And it didn't work, right? And so this is the same situation here when you look at it. It's Filoni. I think you're right. He writes for animation even when he's writing live action. Now you said that, some of those scenes started popping into my head. I'm like, oh yeah, those scenes would have totally worked in animation.
The Stormtrooper, Ahsoka zombie stuff.
Yeah.
Would have killed in animation. It just
what
a bomb, a total fart bomb in how it looked in
Ahsoka. He should be moved to the head of animation and kids stuff. That kids programming. That's where Filoni it probably thrives the best at. It seems.
Yeah. Jake Rowan. Keanu Reeves apparently turned down Salt. Yeah, we spoke about that for a little bit. And thank you for that, by the way. So Tyler, right? Oh, this is a tough one to read, John.
Oh,
how about them Jackets? That was brutal. But I'll tell you, I was in a good. This is something that did happen in Florida though, because it's been harder and harder for me because once I've had the family and stuff, watching as much sports as I try to do as much as I can, but I watched more Yankee games with my dad when I was in Florida than I have I can't even tell you how long in general. So the second I got back, I said, the hell with this. I signed up to the Yes Network, and I have it playing in my house. Even yesterday, it was playing in my house. Day before playing in my house, it's always gonna be playing in my house now. I have to go back there, especially Judge hitting 2 homers yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. I can't just get updates from ESPN. I gotta have the games on. My little one now. So if she had a Judge shirt on, and she's just like, hey, she goes, normal families have the baseball playing in the background with the music down. Sometimes, Dad, that's okay. That's okay. Normal families. What the hell she's talking about?
You Hollywood types. You know what? Normal families.
Normal families. It's hilarious, man. All right. Motorola. What's up, Joe? Yep. The show's not going forward. They don't want it. Say it louder for everyone in the back and the fan accounts that have nothing but tweet the ridiculous hashtag for the past week and a half. I know. Look, it's the same thing I say. I bring up our buddy John Hoey all the time.
Yeah, Johnny.
If you want to do a freaking make Solo 2 happen hashtag, if that makes you feel good and you're fighting for the show that you like, then do it.
Yeah.
It means nothing. It means nothing. I think 40,000 people signed to the Acolyte season 2 thing.
40,000.
40,000. And put $100 on each one of them. It doesn't even crack a smidget of
drop a penny into an empty tin bucket. Right. That's what it sounds like for 40,000 people.
It does nothing. And the same way that Solo 2 lost so much money, it does nothing. Do your hashtag as much as you want. It means nothing. Yeah, but if it makes you feel better, then you should do it.
Yeah, and you guys shouldn't get upset about it because look, they've got a right to express their feelings that they support and love the show. You got a right to just scroll on past that.
That's what I do. Yeah. They have every right to fight for it. Go and fight for it. But I can also upset you. But I can do this. As I'm going, what is it? Oh, make Acolyte season. That means nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do. I go, oh, that will go nowhere. Yeah. I'm allowed to do that in the same way that they're allowed to make it to fight for it.
Exactly.
Because I think that when you go back, I think there's a couple places, a couple shows that did work where it's like, hey, get it renewed. There's enough, or get it to another streaming platform.
Young Justice. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. There's things that happen like that, but it's also, this is a different situation where if it's not going to be picked up from another network. It can't.
No.
So, there's times that shows get canceled and then another network picks it up and says, we'll take it, but that's not going to happen here for sure. No. Tim Sim, the great Tim Sim, as someone who's made peace with season 2 not happening due to lower viewers, giving its high budget and accepted being in the minority who enjoyed Acolyte. Let me stop. I haven't even read the rest of it.
Okay.
I wish that more fans were like Tim Sim.
Yeah.
In that particular, that is the statement.
Yeah.
That is crucial to all of this. He says, look, I loved this show. I really enjoyed it. He said, I really enjoyed it, but I understand. It didn't make money. It didn't do very well. It had too big of a budget.
Yeah.
Classy. And he said, it's tough being the grown-up in the community saying Acolyte is over despite petitions. Understood. But Tim, look, that the same side of what we just talked about, if it makes people feel better, let them do it. To me, it just comes back to this. It is a unfortunate thing where it has become this politicized thing where there's two sides that are fighting against each other, and the people like yourself in the middle of it going, hey, I like there's a show. It just didn't do very well. Shut up, we loved it. Shut up, we hated it. That's who you hear out there.
Yeah.
But it's because of those people like you is the reason the show's not happening. Because you listen and you go, look, he understands. It costs too much money and not enough people are watching it. He liked it, but just because he liked it and a couple other people liked it wasn't enough for us to keep this thing going.
Hey, Freaks and Geeks was canceled after one season. Ask Sam Levine about it.
Oh,
My So-Called Life canceled after one season.
So fun. Sam had a great comment. I went to, so speaking of my little one, we watched One Bite Pizza, the reviews that Portnoy does.
Oh, yeah.
We wanted to get a couple spots out here. So we went to this place and I let my little one pick the one that he ranked kind of higher. And she's like, yeah, let's go to that one. So we drove out and went out to this place and did it. And she was and she was just really excited about it. She gave a review of it. It was adorable. They both my kids scored it. It was great. Nice. But I posted a picture of the place on my Instagram. And Sam Levine goes, they say you can't taste photos. They are wrong. It was great. That's awesome. Carlton Rotter.
Hey.
London calling. Love your shirt, John. And thanks to Kristian for his Patreon studio tour. You're welcome. Also, respect to Dan Merle for his video announcement. Yeah.
Oh, is that out?
Yeah. So Dan put out a video today and just
I gotta watch it.
yeah, he's just Dan's going through some stuff, and so Dan's going on and doing his own some changes going on, and I texted him this morning, and
I owe him a text for sure.
Yeah, we love him to death. So yeah, and then I did a studio tour. I did two things. There's a couple things that people to know on Patreon. What we just started doing, and I'm so glad that we did this. We were doing these one-on-one sessions for a bit, and it was like half an hour of just me and somebody kind of talking for half an hour, and it was great, and I got to know a lot of people. But then we came up with this idea of like the bar, and we brought in like 10 people, and we have this conversation, and I've got all these different people who I've been talking to for a bit, like they're talking to each other, and they're having these conversations, and we're cracking up and laughing. It's like for a full hour I've done this. So if you guys want to come in, we're talking about the Acolyte, we're talking about everything. So if you want to join up and you want to be part of it, go to patreon.com/bigthingshow. It's in the description, and join the bar. You get to meet a lot of different people. And it's fun. You get, I'll be there every month. We do it like 2 or 3 times a month, and we have a bunch of great conversations. So if you want to join, you should. I'd love to meet some more of you. Okay, let's go to the next one. And I think we are at Sam. Yes, we are. Sam Mock. Thoughts on the Secret Level show announced. It's a 15-episode anthology series for big video game properties. They could be great backdoor pilots. I don't know enough about that. Do you, John?
Yeah, we did the trailer review on Geek Buddies over this past week, which if you guys haven't watched, is up on the channel. And that looks fantastic. I was really surprised that they were able to get so many video game companies to be a part of this and have their content used in a new way, and stories written with these different characters from these video games and compiling them into a series. So it's exciting. I haven't seen Love, Death, and Robots, but this now has my interest, and I may watch it when it drops for sure. So yeah.
All right. It's the great Tim Sim. That said, I hope 2 things continue. If Lucasfilm creative reset is needed in Star Wars, keep the diverse casting and creatives coming, and keep venturing into new eras and bold new original directions. Don't overlook the Filoni verse to death. Agreed. So look, this is the thing, and this is a point that I think Phoenix makes on Matt's show. And Phoenix, I think, is I believe she's Puerto Rican. I don't want to. I think,
just personal fault.
Yes, and her point is that what she said is that, of course, diversity is important. Of course, it is.
Right. But
when it's forced, not only do the people who want to hate it feel it, the people you're trying to help feel it. And that's a disservice. So there's nothing. Everybody should get opportunities. Everybody should have opportunities. But when you make it a thing because you don't want to get yelled at on Twitter, that's when it becomes a problem. When it becomes so clear that you're just doing it because you want to say, "Hey, look how great we are. Look what we're doing." That's the problem. Yeah. And it's becoming so clear to people that they're going, "No, it doesn't work. It's not. That wasn't the right fit for that one." But I agree with you, Tim. I think that there needs to be a lot of different things, and I hope that what they don't take, I feel like that what this regime will do is go, "Oh, see, nobody wants High Republic stuff that didn't do well." It's like, no, nobody wants bad writing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so, keep everything coming, but keep it coming in good content. And I agree with Phoenix, because I've come to that place. You know me from the beginning. I was drumming, I don't care, put it in there. But now it's very clear that it's hurting both sides if you don't do it in the right way. Like America Ferrera or America Chavez in Multiverse of Madness was a horrific introduction of that character in a Doctor Strange movie, and it should have been much better and in a different situation. So representation is fine. Shoved in, not so good.
Agreed. I am too fly can. Hi, fellas. I think Kenobi was even worse than Acolyte by all measures. And so, anyway, I canceled Disney Plus, and I won't be coming back. Star Wars is in a coma. Not going to disagree on the Star Wars is a coma part. I think that there was more stuff in Kenobi that I liked than I did in Acolyte. But I'm not going to argue with you on it, because there's so much, like, it's really hard to get over that Benny Hill scene in Obi-Wan. It really is. It's really, and there's so much wrong in that show. So I can't really argue with you on it, but yeah. So I don't know how you feel about it, John.
Yeah. Can you got to delineate, right? Like, Moses Ingram is a good actress. I like the Reva character. That wasn't where the character should have been in. It totally took away from what we wanted, which is Kenobi versus Vader, somehow crossing over, seeing each other. I mean, the comic book does a great job of having Vader cross past or get close to characters that still keeps the canon of what we know. I think they should have worked a lot harder to do that in that show. And I didn't mind the little Princess Leia, but I agree with you. Turning it into a comical joke at times was frustrating, you know?
All right, here's our buddy, Matt Sinister McCall. Rank
Hey.
these 5 movies worst to best that disturb me. American History X, The Witch, Schindler's List, Human Centipede, and Polar Express. It's hilarious. All right. So from as far as quality goes,
Yeah,
I would say Human Centipede at number 5.
sure.
Number 4 is Polar Express. Number 3, I'm probably going to put The Witch. Number 2, American History X, and then number 1, Schindler's List.
Yeah, I'll have to go with that exact list.
Yeah.
That is my 5 as well in order. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it just those are all the top. The 3 are all really good movies. It's just,
yes.
Yeah. Timson. Also, to paraphrase what Molly Damon said in a recent Star Wars Explained video, from here on out, after Acolyte's cancellation, why bother following every new Star Wars project to come and give it a chance if we hear it's terrible? What do you mean if we hear it's terrible? What does that mean? If we hear it's terrible?
He's saying that if their voices are loud enough to say it's terrible, that's affecting people coming to watch the show. That's nonsense. I'll show you a bunch of terrible movies that critics destroyed and made hundreds and millions of dollars. So it's
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, it's not that. If that's what Molly was saying, and all respect to Molly, I don't agree with that at all. It's not. This is the thing is people aren't going like, oh, look, a bunch of anti-woke people hate it, I'm not going to watch it. That's not actually what's happening.
No, look, and this is what Molly was very vocal on how much she loved the show. And
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great.
She's clearly hurt. The show didn't get renewed, and that's understandable. She loved the show.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with that where it comes to like, well, if we're going to get invested in it and someone else doesn't like it and then it gets pulled. Again, this is a $180 million show that didn't deliver on the quality to get everyone on board. Yeah. So that's the whole thing. And if a show is good enough, it'll stick on. It'll stick and it'll stay on. If the majority of people continue to like it, it'll get renewed for a second season. If you make it, if Obi-Wan, look, Obi-Wan's a show that didn't get renewed, by the way.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan didn't get renewed.
There's the writing campaign for that.
And that show cost $80 million.
Yeah.
Almost $100 million less than this show.
And arguably looked better.
I don't know. The volume was pretty strong, but it was also pandemic stuff going on in there. But still, and that was the same thing. People weren't on board with it. Mandalorian, people are on board with it. Got a season 2. Andor, people are on board with it. Got a season 2. And majority, and it's about majority stuff. So that's it's and
people don't listen to these anti-woke YouTubers at the numbers that the other side think that they do. They don't.
It really isn't.
They're a convenient scapegoat for the other side's anger. And I get it. I've been on both sides. I get it. But like, to me, that's not actually why the show failed. No. The show failed because people came in millions and millions in the first 2 episodes and just didn't like and bailed.
And not everybody's part of this war between the people who love it and people who go, I just don't like the show. I always use my friend John Pinto as an example. He said to me, he's like, how's this new Star Wars show? I heard it's terrible. He's not paying attention to the Twitter stuff. He heard from people that he knows, and he works all day, and then he goes, how's Star Wars? Should I watch it? He's like, I don't know what that is. I'm not watching it. And he doesn't watch it. And that's what happened.
Logic needs to override feelings, and sometimes in these situations.
Yeah. Julius Wyatt, love watching you guys talking news every week. How come you get an apology here? John, I'm sorry about FSU Saturday.
We're more vocal about FSU than you are.
That's true.
I have a show.
That's true. Hopefully they bounce back and have a good season. Have a good week, guys. We can only hope.
Not with that quarterback, they won't.
No, I know.
The guy, 13 out of his 19 passes were 5 yards downfield or less.
I know.
That's horrible.
I know. Tim Sim, again. Twitter these past days have been tempting me with Save the Acolyte showing on my trending for you page and showing me tweets about saying it's disingenuous not to give Acolyte a chance to perform. It's not disingenuous. It's not, because if you have $180 million show and it doesn't crack the top 10, that's not disingenuous. That's smart business. Because if you put another, how much, and this is what I said to PJ when I was talking to him. Tim, I'll ask you this question too. Tim, I'm going to give you a season 2. How much budget are you asking for season 2?
Yeah.
And then you come back and you tell me how much now after season 1 didn't perform and you couldn't get season 2 or the finale, you couldn't get it into the top 10. How much are you asking for season 2? And that would be my answer if I'm Bob Iger going, how much?
Yeah.
And if it's anything higher than $50 million, you're not getting a yes.
Also, because like you said, 50 million. How many of those actors are going to want to come back for a pay cut? Put that on the table.
You make a whole new cast if you wanted.
You'd have to do.
You'd have to. But
I guarantee you they're not coming back.
And you make 5. What I would do is, here's what you get. You're getting $50 million. You got to get new actors to come back if they're going to ask for pay for pay increases, and you're getting 5 episodes.
Yeah,
that's it.
Done.
So, Matt Sanderson McCall. Best Sneider off today is having a romantic vacation with Don Cheadle in North Korea. Oh, all right. If you're in an empty theater, what is the best place to sit? Whether I'm in an empty theater, I always pick, my seats are always the same, no matter empty or I sit on the. Ellis and I made a habit of this from the heydays of Schmoes, and I still do it. It's in the stadium seating. It's always top left, and it's usually the two seats to the left.
Depends on the size of the theater. But I agree with Kristian. I've started to move to the top left, top right of a theater. If it's a smaller theater and there's not a lot of people in it, or an IMAX theater with not a lot of people in it, I sit dead middle, but all the way to the right or all the way to the left and rows away from people. So I can be alone when I'm watching the movie. Yeah.
All right. Next one, Blake Gilbert. Rocha, what's your beef with Julia Roberts? Yeah, Rocha. What's your beef with Julia Roberts?
I don't have any beef. I just don't find her attractive. But that doesn't mean she's not objectively attractive to other people. It doesn't mean she's not doesn't deserve her success, because she does, So
let me just slide
it's
over.
Personal preference. You know what? Some people don't think Brad Pitt's attractive, and that always blows my mind when women say that. So it's all taste. It's all personal taste. I got no beef. I love you, Julia.
Yeah, she's watching. Justin is a square. Happy Monday. I guess Lionsgate missed the memo. There's a reason Professor Crow wants everyone to stop talking about the Crow. Just saying. It's true. You remember Professor Crow, John?
What's Professor? Is that one of the voices you did?
He's one of the characters in SEN. I haven't done it in so long, I've almost forgotten how to do it. But yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Roman Fedoruk. Hey guys, awesome show as always. Thank you, sir. Question: do you think that Kathleen Kennedy received any flack from Iger after Indy 5 lost big last year? Not a Kathleen Kennedy hater, but I'm surprised I would not hear anything. I'm sure it put her more into the microscope. I don't understand how that works. I just don't. It's like that one. That's a major misfire. That's a $300 million movie that lost a lot of money. Lost a lot of money on a classic IP again that I thought again was approached very poorly. So I'm sure the conversation was had, and I'm sure the conversation is had. When's our next movie? This is why the Filoni the Favreau Mandalorian and Grogu movie, that movie has been obviously fast tracked. Favreau is going to be making all of the shots on that movie, and that movie will do well. I think, and I've said this, John, I think that film alone will feel the most like the original trilogy than anything we've seen at all.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that end for sure. And hopefully it does nail it, because certainly they need to have that.
They need something. They need to win.
They need it.
Yeah. Warner Brothers Discovery. This is from Sean O'Rourke. Thank you, Sean. Warner Brothers Discovery is a huge financial mess. I doubt that James Gunn will have his DCU slate realized. If Superman makes less than the Batman, the DCU will be in trouble. I don't disagree with that last part of it. I mean, everybody understands Superman has to be a big hit in order for this thing to continue on in the way that he wants it.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. 100%.
I mean, it's the right gamble to take, but it's a gamble. But it's the right gamble to take. Now that movie's going to cost money. We've talked about the idea of not the reshoots and all that stuff. There's a reason why, and he's making all these decisions. He's got a game plan. So we just got to see whether or not it's going to work.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay. Next one. We got a lot. You guys have really been delivering here today. Thank you so much. Sam Mock, what happened to the Cal Kestis show you reported? So that was another one. So I had heard a while ago, man, that as they were throwing everything against the wall.
Yeah, sure.
That was another one. He was in talks. The main kid from that who plays Cal Kestis was in talks. And I still very, very reputable person that I talked to. That was the thing that they were thinking about doing. Now, whether or not why they didn't, I even said inside the report, it's like, look, these things can fall apart at any given time.
Yeah.
And with Lucasfilm, it happens every other Tuesday. But it was very much real. It's just a question of what happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
At all.
I don't know anything about that, so I can't comment on it.
Yeah, I had heard that quite a while ago, and I said, even when I reported on it, I was like, yeah, but whether or not that happens, who knows? Mike Joyce, have you seen the report on budget for Wolves? No, what is that? I mean, that's the George Clooney movie, right?
Yes. I think they were paid $20 million each, and John Watts got $15 million. I think that's what was reported.
The two of them alone were 24, so we're looking at 55 million before we even roll cameras.
I think. Yeah.
Please look that up.
I'm looking it up right now. Yeah.
Oh my God,
pretty sure I'm right on this.
That's a crazy. We're not making movies like that anymore, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here we go. But look, you keep going. I look it up.
All right. So this is from Luke Skywanker. Have you seen Strange Darling? It's pretty good. Which one's that? Strange Darling?
Strange Darling is the
is that the Channing Tatum one?
No, that's the Don't Blink Twice.
Oh.
Strange Darling is the kind of like the smaller indie one that's coming up.
I don't know that one.
It's with Willa Fitzgerald and it's from JT Molnar.
Oh,
so
right.
yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. No. Jerry Manning really loved Alien Romulus. Hope we get more soon. Me too. I just want to see Fede Alvarez do more stuff. I'm a big Fede Alvarez fan now.
Agreed.
I was before, but I'm even more because I really want to see him do a Terminator movie. I'm going to put that out there every time I talk about him because I want to put it into the universe.
So okay,
go ahead, John, please.
Yeah, 35. So it's 35 million each. Clooney and
35 million each.
Clooney and Pitt, and 15 million for John Watts.
$35 million each.
That's according to the New York Times. They're getting roughly the exact same salary, roughly 35 million. The film's director, John Watts, who previously had Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Wait. I'm not getting over this 35 million thing. You said 15. Wait, you said that they're getting. So could it potentially be that they're getting like 17 each?
No, 35 million each, the same salary each.
Who greenlights this?
Apple. Apple spends $200 million on movies like nothing.
Money, Apple.
You know what?
I mean, I don't know their business model. I don't know, but I don't know, maybe because it's going to go direct to Apple on, and it's going to be one of their big movies that they pay for. So that's how they justify. I don't know how they look at it. Do they sign up stuff? But that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I don't know enough about their business model because I see stuff like that all the time. But I don't know, how do you justify that?
I don't know. I think
that movie,
you come out with a new MacBook Pro every year. That's how you justify it.
And you can just throw it away, and who cares?
Yeah, and you charge $2,000 to $3,000.
And who cares? I guess you're right. Pete Parker, 2288, loving Bad Monkey. Who's that Spanish actress? Whoa!
Oh yeah, Bad Monkeys. Are you seeing this, Kristian?
So I watched episode 1 with my wife, and I liked it. Did you like it?
Yeah, I've already finished the whole season.
Is it good?
It is so effing good.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad
the trailers were terrible.
Okay.
So I did not expect good things, but then the reviews came out and a lot of people were positive about it. So we'll give it a chance. So we saw the first couple episodes on Friday. We blazed through it this weekend and finished it off.
All right. I'm glad you said that because I almost forgot about it because before I left for Florida, my wife and I watched it and she's like, do you want to keep watching? I was like, yeah, I like the first episode. She's like, I don't know if I'm as invested yet, but I'm curious. And I said, all right, so let's watch episode 2. So I'll watch that. That's good to know. Shane Adams,
tell Julia Roberts too that it is good. It is good. Tell her that.
I will say, and I'm not just saying this because she's my wife. I will tell you that I think that my wife is more attractive than Julia.
My wife, nice. That's
Shane Adams.
Supposed to say. Yeah.
Haven't watched Picard, but I heard that Terry Matalas is a good showrunner. You love that show.
Yeah, I love Picard season 3, and Terry was very kind when the Geek Buddies were reviewing it. Terry personally reached out to me on DM on Twitter and was very kind and was very happy. We were drumming up support. And then, of course, people got on board with it and it became a massive hit. So more for Terry to do is a great thing. And people should go back and revisit his 12 Monkeys series, which I thought was fantastic as well. So shout out to Terry.
Yeah.
Good guy.
That's good. All right. So, and I heard it's a really good show. People love that show. I don't know if I'll ever, well, who am I bullshitting? I'll never watch it.
You're not a Star Trek guy.
I'll never watch it. I didn't mind the JJ one.
The reboot. Yes,
I didn't mind.
It was a good one.
Shane Adams. Have you guys heard about Brandon Davis? No.
Yeah, all I heard is that he's left comicbook.com and he did a video about it, but I didn't watch the video. I just heard that he left, and maybe there's some changes coming, but that's all I've heard. all the outlets, man, they've all gone through changes.
Yeah, it's true. No, I didn't hear anything about it though. So, okay, let's see. Tom Hanks. I always love when Tom Hanks is in there. Hey, just wanted to thank you for all the great videos and content. Thank you, Mr. Hanks. Getting married this week. Congratulations. So we'll listen on the repeat. Also, no more Acolyte. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Wow. It looks like. Okay. Let's see the next. Yeah. See. Oh, good. Today, I was so confused with our audience because last week, the audience was on your side with the Florence Pugh thing. This week, it seems to be on my.
No, you're hallucinating. They're all.
No, I'm reading it. Look, I give you credit when credit's due, but right now, you're an idiot, is what they're saying. I didn't write it. That's what they said.
I didn't write it. My sources tell me you're an idiot.
My sources say.
They say.
Yeah, that's right. Tim Sim. Long story short, after Acolyte's cancellation, entertainment business sucks. But it is what it is. Well,
no, it doesn't suck. Stop it, Tim.
Tim, look, my man. It's a business.
Business.
You even said it yourself in your last comment. It didn't do the ratings.
Why are you mad at the Why aren't you mad at people not watching the show? Go get mad at the people who didn't watch the show. Why are you mad at the studios? That's how we hold the studio hostage. We watch the shows. We're forced to make more.
Well, my brother actually said this, and this is what he said in the beginning of it. He said, "I've heard nothing but bad things about Acolyte." He's a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
and he said, "I'm not watching this show." He said, "I'm not going to watch it." He's like, unless I started hearing, if you tell me that it's really, really great, and I start hearing from other people, then maybe I'll go back and watch it. It's like, but I'm not doing that thing anymore where I'm hoping that Ahsoka's good and Obi-Wan's good, and then I watch it and I tell them by me watching it that I want more of this. Yeah. He's like, I'm not watching it. He's like, I'm not going to watch it because maybe if enough people don't watch it, they won't make stuff like this. Yeah. And he's like, again, if you tell me it's good, then I'll watch it. And I said, I can't tell you that. And then so he didn't watch it. And then more people who, in the same way that you just said, if more people, you don't scream and yell and tell people how much they're worthless or horrible or whatever it is. Just don't watch it. Yeah. And I think Leslye Headland even said that to people. You don't like our show, don't watch it. I think that they heard that message.
Yeah.
All right, Armada. They should have made the Professor Crow movie instead of starring Bobby Finstock and Beth Sneider. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I think it'll be a good movie. Taluk Horde and the Acolyte Orchestra. Wow, it's hilarious. I actually have a band called Taluk Horde and the Acolyte Orchestra, and I'm grateful that people can actually spell Acolyte thanks to the show. Oh, that's great. Beforehand, nobody could spell it. Oh, that's hilarious. That was his actual show. Amazing. All right, let's go. We keep going here. Haskell 420. Oh man, I watched the Christopher Reeves story trailer. Dude, I missed both screenings for that.
Oh, really?
So the one screening I had was in the city. Yeah. And I was my family was gonna come in with me, and they were gonna go do their own thing, and I was gonna see it. And then my wife and kids had not been in the city yet, and I was like, I took the day off from work, and I spent time with them. And then the next one that they had, I was in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
But I am
groupers.
I'm so looking forward to that.
I'm seeing it tomorrow at 4:30.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Afternoon here in San Diego. So if you want to drive down.
Yeah, I will for sure. I'll get my steak while I'm at it. Taluk Horde following back up. I have issues with Filoni because the suspension of disbelief required is extreme. He's grievous, laughing, inconsistency. Yeah, he does that though. He does. I'm telling you, he takes too much. What Filoni does well is he takes all the positives of what George Lucas did, and he takes all the stuff that made George Lucas great, and he uses that, and that's why he does some great stuff. The negative is he takes all the stuff that George Lucas was not great at and follows that also. Yeah. He's clearly taking that page off of his dialogue. Oof.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
100%.
He's a great storyteller, terrible writer. As far as he's getting, his writing's getting worse and worse every show that he does. Okay, so that was Taluk Horde. And then next one is from Keith Kilduff.
Hey,
from Ireland. I was at the game. It was class. That must have been a fun game to be at.
It went all the way down to a field goal. So it was back.
That atmosphere to be watching that too.
Dude, those packages sold out immediately. I took a look. It was like 9,000 to go down there.
Speaking of my brother, is hilarious. He texts me, he's like, "Hey, you see your ex-girlfriend was there." I'm like, 25 years ago.
Who's your ex-girlfriend?
She was a friend of mine that was at the.
She was at the game. Oh, that's
She
funny.
was at the game. Yeah, she was at the game. And he's like, "Do you see her?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah." 25 years ago.
She got a sign.
She looked like Sandra Bullock. I'll tell you that.
Really?
Do you find her attractive?
Send me a picture. Oh, I think Sandy's attractive.
All right.
She's Virginia. It's a Virginia girl. Come on.
Yeah, Shane Adams to bring up Star Trek again. I hear those shows are doing well. Maybe Lucasfilm should look how they are doing those as an example. I think that if they try to do the tone of, because look, if they would have done, because for people's criticisms on Andor, right?
Yeah.
That it was slower, that it didn't have, lightsabers, didn't feel it. Imagine if they would have done that kind of writing and tone with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Then those same people who didn't like Andor, I think they're singing a different tune about it.
Terry Matalas's Obi-Wan Kenobi series is is one I would sign up for 100%, because you could argue it's kind of correlative. An older guy coming back, trying to recapture what happened, dealing with stuff from the past, could have totally worked in Terry Matalas's hands. And so, yeah, I agree. And he's right. Like, Discovery is the anomaly there because Lower Decks does well. People love Prodigy. Picard season 3 was incredible, and Strange New Worlds is fantastic. So yeah, I agree.
All right. Renee Reyes. It's funny hearing you both explain the reasons why Acolyte didn't renew, but this is the world we live in, guys. Constantly explaining. I know. It's just, and it's less about, it's arguing common sense against emotion is ultimately what it is. Because when you look at this, when you look at the people that are really arguing on both sides, that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
What do we have? Oh, hey.
Limp 22KZ. Do you think Deadpool will make Disney realize that they can make money by making known properties more adult, hoping Star Wars starts doing it in films? I think that they can, but this is the thing. This is the conversation we're having. I think Disney's already aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
The question is, if I can rephrase that for you, do you think that Deadpool will now make Disney go forward with their realization that they are making money by making known properties and replace the organization in Lucasfilm that doesn't realize that?
Yeah.
That's the question, because Disney knows it. Disney also runs the Fox. They have Alien Romulus. They have all these movies. They have movies and stuff that do it. Each company runs a portion of their movies.
Yeah.
They've got to replace who's running Lucasfilm. That's the number one thing. You have to replace not just Kathleen Kennedy. They need to replace a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I guarantee you they bring George Lucas back. The new regime.
No. George Lucas he's nowhere near able to do it. The guy's
No, I don't mean that he's going to come back and do a movie. I mean, they bring him back.
Helping the consultants?
Yes.
Sure.
Bigger part of the
Kraken shits is back.
Hey.
Preseason is over. Can't wait for the NFL season. Here we go. Brownies, here we go. Woof, woof. Let's go Giants. I know you're a Giants fan now because you watched.
I tried to watch the Hard Knocks, bro.
Couldn't do it, huh?
I hate your team so much. I can't do it.
I know. You told me that.
I can't do it.
You told me that.
Although the Saquon part was a lot of fun, watching you guys fumble away Saquon.
How dare you? All right, let's see. We got some more.
Oh, I want to say something. I signed up for Direct Ticket. For those of you who are military members, if you're not signed up for ID.me, sign up for ID.me. I got $280 off the NFL Sunday Direct Ticket. Yeah. So if you are
not a sponsor
or former military, you can sign up at ID.me, use your DD214 or whatever your credentials are. They check it. And if you qualify, then you get all these coupons and rebates. And I cashed that one in. And so I'm going to enjoy Direct Ticket this season big time. So yeah.
All right. Sorry. No, it's good.
Shout out.
Aiden Keohane. There's a great fan film on YouTube called Darth Maul. I heard this actually. Apprentice. I heard it was as good as Acolyte. It looks as good as Acolyte, and it definitely didn't cost $180. Yeah, I actually heard that it was pretty good. Darth Maul Apprentice. I think that maybe is that the one that I actually saw. I don't remember, but I know I'm aware of that one. I just don't know if I've seen it or not. Can't remember. All right, Julius Wyatt. I sometimes forget that you went to FSU. Sorry about your football team. Go. No, you're right. John's definitely more vocal about this stuff in general.
Wow. 2016, 33 million views. Wow. Okay.
What was?
Darth Maul Apprentice.
Wow. Good. That's 2016. Then I definitely have seen that. I've seen that. I know exactly what it is. He's like running around in the forest and stuff. It's pretty good.
Gotcha.
I am Jax 12. Take the names out. Show A has budget X and viewership Y. If the math problem doesn't add up, then it doesn't get renewed. It's easy. It's 100%. I'm telling you, it's subtracting emotion, because if you did exactly what you just said to those people who were out there talking about how it needed to get renewed, if you bring up another circumstance and you just said, okay, look, here's a show that I have, and we just put $180 million into this show, and we tried to do some new things with it. Some people liked it, but for the most part, it debuted at X amount of views. The second one did a little less, then it did less and less and less, and the season finale didn't crack the top 10. What do you think? They would say it probably won't get renewed.
Yeah.
It's just, as you said, it's a matter of emotion. Enrique Rodas, love you guys. Did you see Sneider's article there? He said Kathleen Kennedy is expected to leave Q2 of next year. Yeah. If I had $1 for every time I've heard that, though, nothing against Jeff. I mean, he very well could have heard that, but I mean, how many times have you heard over the last 5 years? Oh yeah, she's leaving after this. She's leaving after this. I think Campia said that at one point. I'm guaranteed there's no way she's coming back after Indiana Jones. She's still here. Yeah. So there's people have said that many times over. I feel like it's almost like this thing where she's just like, it's almost like the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I don't think she's, I don't see, I mean, when it happens, it'll happen, but I don't know. Do you think it's going to happen?
I'm not fucking going. Yeah. I should have done that in my retirement. I swear to God, I should have done that. Just walked off the stage. I said this before. Jeff and I talked about it off mic before the show, and so that he put it into his article is kind of funny because he told me not to say anything. So Jeff wanted the shine on it. That's fine, but I felt the same way, and that's what I think now is. And I don't mean they're going to fire her. I think it's going to be like she's going to step down. It's going to be a whole thing. But yes, I think it's the first time I've ever conceive that it's very possible, and so I think I wouldn't be surprised if she's gone in 2025. Would not be surprised at all. You know, it's about money.
Before the movie comes out.
Which one, Mandalorian Grogu?
Yeah, because it would make sense to me if it was after that.
Yeah, I think after,
because then it's walk off the court.
Right.
Like,
yes.
Here's my 5th Star Wars movie that's just made $1 billion.
Even though you could argue she might have nothing to do with it, because Favreau is pretty much untouchable at this point.
Names on the credits, then you get credit for it.
You get to claim.
Yes, it doesn't matter who says, oh, how much did you ever? It doesn't matter. Names on the credits, and then you can leave with, the trilogy hit $1 billion. Rogue One hit $1 billion. That hit $1 billion. Mandalorian season 1, season 2, nominated for Emmys on Obi-Wan, nominated for Emmys on, Acolyte. Where's my next job?
Yeah. And I think, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, I think she's been determined to do a Rey movie. And this is why she brought back Daisy. She wants to redeem it. Yeah. She's mad how the sequel trilogy went down. I think she wants to do a Rey movie. That being said, though, if the Mandalorian, if Iger looks at things and is like, look, I know you want to do this, we're not going to do it. Or if we do it, we're going to have someone else do it. But, thanks for all your service. I would not be surprised if it happens after Mandalorian and Grogu. Would not be surprised.
And that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. You'll go out on a guaranteed win.
Yes.
Shane Adams, do you think Disney's going to remove or would remove the Acolyte from streaming to not pay the talent residuals?
That's the thing, Kristian, because a lot of people are like, well, they took Willow down, but that was like, I think they saw that as egg on their face type of show. This is something else. And I mean, if they did that, dude, it would be massive backlash. So I don't think they're going to do it, but I bet they're going to make it really hard for you to find if you want to watch it on the service. Maybe. I'll put money on that.
Pharaoh vibes. As a black person in this society, I'm tired of being told that I should enjoy content because there is someone that looks like me on screen. Make good stories and characters. The Acolyte failed to do so. Here.
Totally fair.
And I don't want to it was a very kind thing, and he pretty much just made his stamp and kind of dropped the mic. But that's kind of what we were talking about. It's like you've got to make everybody want the stories. And I'm sure the Pharaoh vibes was saying, well, this is great. What a great cast. But then watching it going, what is this?
Yeah, I agree.
Neeks 2890 Collider Live, the best show on the YouTubes. False. Love you both. Keep it up, guys, and cheers from Disneyland. It's one of the shows that if I go back in time, I always think about it. I would tell myself, don't do that show. Don't do it. Don't do that show. No, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. First rate Nate. J-Lo is more talented than Florence.
No.
John.
J-Lo
Look at him.
J-Lo is a TV movie talent that somehow got to feature films. Come on. It's look, no offense, but Florence Pugh. I mean, Florence Pugh in a coma is better than J-Lo, for God's sake.
There's nobody in that audience, huh? Is that true? Was that
yeah,
actual?
Oh yeah. Kristian sent me a TikTok from her opening show.
But is that rehearsals or was that real?
No, that was real. That was her opening show, and it was terrible. That's why she canceled the concert like a few weeks later, because nobody was buying the tickets. And you want to talk about social media? TikTok went after her and started posting unedited audio of her singing, and that just destroyed her. And then all these stories came out about how other people were singing her songs and how her producer stole songs from other people to put her on it. So yeah. And now she did this whole, Kristian, she did this whole documentary about how she found love after all this time with Ben Affleck and all this stuff. And they got divorced within the same year that the documentary and album came out, crowing about their love. Like it's been a rough year for J-Lo, but well-deserved. I think well-deserved.
Next super chat. Oh wait, that's not a super chat. Sam Mock. I bet Favreau takes over for Kathy. I hope not. I love Favreau, but now John Favreau shouldn't be running all Lucasfilm. John Favreau should be directing projects and do a couple, but no, they need an executive. They need an executive that is going to be creatively involved, understands, wants to reshape the whole thing and put together a whole new team. That's what they need. Not Favreau. Favreau is great. He's super creative, but that's not the way to go. Not to run all of Lucasfilm, because you're not just dealing with Star Wars, you're dealing with everything. You're dealing with every technical thing that comes with it. So he doesn't want to do that. TV shows, the parks, everything.
Yeah.
Fireside reviews. John, have you seen the trailer for the piano lesson? It's intense and beautiful. No, did you see it?
Yeah, we talked about it last week on the hot mic. Jeff and I liked that trailer. It's a Netflix trailer with Samuel L. Jackson. It's based on an August Wilson play, and it's about this piano that is connecting to the generations of this black family from slavery to now. And so it's a fascinating trailer, and I hope the movie is good because I like August Wilson stuff.
Awesome. All right, this is then Justin A. Square. Thoughts on the Brett Roxy episode last week? So Brett, so I was out of town. So on Wednesday, it was Wednesday they shot it. It was Roxy hosted while I was at it, but I had to set up the things, and Brett was trying to set up this program that I use, and it was a whole thing for a while. And then they finally shot it. Roxy had to jump off because she only had an hour and a half scheduled out. The prepping alone was like almost 2 hours before they finally got going.
Wow.
And then they sent it to me, and it was hilarious. Brett had to take over and host the show by himself, the second half of the show. And he sent it to me. He did 2 trailer reactions. He did one of the Indiana Jones game trailer and one of Megalopolis. And he shot the reaction to Megalopolis and put it in an outro at it that would go into the show.
Right.
And he also did his own outro beforehand. So I edited in both of the outros. It looks like he did it, and then at the end of it looked like a post credits. It was hilarious. It was really, really funny. So it was a good
Brett's funny even when he's not trying to be funny, man.
No. J.S. Hooper. The Acolyte was always intended to be destructive. Leslye Headland openly admits she hates the Jedi. Why would she be surprised that fans reject that? She made a show for herself and not the fans. I think that she made the show for a select group of fans. I don't think she made it just for herself. I think she made the show that she wanted to make. But this is also why I go back to, Kathleen Kennedy and others going, well, maybe that's not just the best approach to do. We should make it that's why I made that point before, make it for everybody. But I do think that I don't like the approach of what they did to the Jedi. And I have seen the arguments of like, oh, make them flawed, make them this, make them that. They've been flawed. And when I was a kid, I always saw them as the samurai, and that samurai can be flawed, but they still they were idiots in this show, complete and utter idiots all the way through. And I dislike that element of the show very much.
Yeah, I think they messed up by taking us back to, or introducing us to, a live action version of an era that is thriving in the books, and that's the High Republic era. And our first exposure to them is when the Jedi are about to fall apart, as opposed to the glory days of the Jedi, which would have been interesting, like maybe 5 seasons down the road. You start to see the Jedi erode, which is what allows the Empire to come in and have power. So I think that was a massive mistake in terms of their approach. People want to love the Jedi. So you want to get us acquainted with these Jedi first, being good and doing great things, and then slowly but surely watch them fall apart. That's the tragedy of it. That would have been the smarter approach. But please don't just blame Leslye. People approve this. People approve this whole thing up and down the chain.
In the same way you can't, I mean, with the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
They should have had a freaking thing mapped out. Not, JJ made a movie. Oh, Ryan wants to make a different movie. Sure, why not? And what about the third one? We'll get Colin Trevorrow, who's actually going to piece together the 2 movies they did. Get rid of him. JJ wants to come back. What's he going to do? He's going to do something. He hated what Ryan Johnson. That was my favorite, by the way. That's my favorite. When I would say it, and I was JJ Abrams, not a fan of that movie. 100% not a fan of that movie. And people are like, oh, you're wrong. He loves it. No, he doesn't. Yeah. And clearly, when you see that movie, he didn't. Armada, Rupert Sanders will get his groove back by directing The Hot Tour Girl and Kevin Sorbo as the leads for a Rhinestone reboot. Sign me up just to watch that train wreck. Holy shit!
Hey, she hates Kevin Sorbo.
Does she?
Yeah, she's not a Trump fan either. Hawk Tuah. She had said it in interviews. So yeah.
Roman Fedorak. Hey again. What was the last word on Taika's Star Wars film? He put it this way: you know more about that movie than Taika
does. What's the New Zealand word for canceled? Because that's what it is.
No, he knows. He has no clue. Let's see. So let's go to this next one. Blue Tattoo. Maybe another exec and filmmaker team up for Star Wars CEOs like the Gunn Safran. Either Dave or Favreau as the filmmaker. I don't know who would be the exec. Yeah, I mean, it would be an exec that we don't know. It has to be an exec that we don't know. In the same way that you didn't know who Kevin Feige was, people are always looking for like, who's the name, who's the big name, right? Like in the way that you look at, was it Theo Epstein?
Yeah, took over as GM. Yeah.
Nobody, and he was the Red Sox. Nobody knew who he was. He's a young exec that came out of nowhere, and he won championships for the freaking Red Sox and the Cubs.
Yeah.
Jordy Dan.
But I do want to say with Blue. You don't even know if the Gunn Safran in this thing works. We haven't even seen the sample of it out.
Right. But we just but we feel like it's a positive thing that they're doing. At least have a game plan. It feels like they have a game plan.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Jordy Dan. Hey. Hollywood custodians of these franchises need to respect lore, both visual and narrative canon. Picard season 3 did this.
Correct.
Episode 7 had Luke and his Jedi like the New Order. We would not be where we are today. I agree. They try to. That's what Star Wars does the most. They try to go like, well, that's what everybody wants to see, so we're going to do something a little different, really different. You know that music you love with John Williams? We're never going to put that in any of our TV shows. Why would you? Well, you know this? You always thought that the Jedi were this. Nah, they're assholes. And this, what do you think about this? Nah, screw this. You think Rey is actually, she could be anybody. It's like all these things that they do. It's like, oh, they took shots. They took outside chances. Yeah, but they don't know what they're doing. They're just doing it and going, oh, this might work.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100% now because we have to give it time, right? Now we're all these years later, we can absolutely look back and say you're 100% correct on that. It's just so frustrating to see it and then they get mad at the fans for not watching.
Yeah.
Well, why aren't you watching it? We did what we wanted, what you wanted. It's like,
Julius Wyatt, Borderlands drops 80% week 3 when an all-time flop. That'll be on that will be on streaming by the time this show is over.
Yeah.
Sam Mock. Look, I don't want John to take over. I just think that's what Lucasfilm would mistakenly do. Yeah, you might not be wrong.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it is a no-name exec. It really should be, and hopefully, that's what Iger is going to do. He finds somebody that can build their career off of saving this fart show. Yeah. Benny, most underrated film trilogy of all time for you. Oh man, that's so hard. I got to look. I mean, the Bourne, but that's most movies that you think about. The trilogies, they're not trilogies anymore. Bourne, I was going to say. Yeah, that's a harder one for me to really come up with.
Are there any trilogies left?
I don't know. They're not all trilogies now, so I'm not sure. That's a tough one for me to do. Armada, I haven't seen it yet, but Fede Alvarez's girl in the Spider Web movie, not good. I don't think I ever saw that. Did you? What happened?
Here's what I would say. I think Claire is miscast in the role, but I think she does as good of a job as she can.
Oh, I know which one that is.
Right.
Is that the one from the books?
Yes, from the books, right? Exactly. And Noomi Rapace did the original 3 of them.
I never saw it.
Right. And then Rooney Mara did the American remake with Fincher and Daniel Craig. This one was their approach to it again, but rebooting it with Claire Foy. And yeah, I think it's very well directed. I think there's a lot of it that's watchable, but she is miscast to a degree, but she does a great job with it, or a good enough job with it. So it's a totally watchable movie. So I would definitely recommend it on an afternoon if you have a couple of hours to watch it and give it a chance.
Yeah. Ed, you brought up your super chat about Christopher Reeve. I already brought that up. said that I was supposed to see a screening of it, and Rocha has a screening for it soon. So we brought it up. But thank you. So where is that the last one? Oh, there's one more here.
Okay.
Path 090. What from the Acolyte would you like to see carried forward to future Star Wars projects? I do think that there is a way for them to maneuver around what happened in the end there with Darth Plagueis. And I have been so vocal about this, and I'll do it again. James Luceno's novel. You can turn that novel into a 4 or 5 part miniseries. And you can make it a little darker. You could put, you can put somebody like maybe Tom Hiddleston's a little too overused right now, but as a Palpatine type figure, you can do what you were going to say, what you were going to do in the first place. Have the focus be on the bad guys, but you can really show the inner workings of how it all played and what he did. You learn more about him. You've already introduced him now, and you can really show what that novel is all about. That's a gangster book, by the way, like legit. That's not like that is when I talked to Luceno, he had the idea of doing like a kind of mafia story, and it plays.
Wow.
So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's it, John. I think that's the last one. Wait, what from? No, yeah, that was it. Okay. Well, thank you. There's a ton of them, guys. Thanks for being here today with us. Really, really appreciate that.
2 hours.
Yeah, man. I know. Oh, see, they won't let you go now, John. John, what's your favorite soccer memory while watching a game?
When we came back and beat Barcelona in Liverpool to get into the Champions League final against Tottenham. That's my favorite memory. Yes, coming back against AC Milan was great, but I always felt we could do that. The Barcelona one, way more odds stacked against us. So that's my great memory.
All right, John, tell them where they can find you.
Oh, yeah. You can always find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Head on over there for the Geek Buddies, the Hot Mic, the Spill the Tequila, the Julia Roberts fandom. Follow it for everything there. Head on over there. And my Patreon, if I can put a plug, patreon.com/John Rocha. We do those hangouts every week. So come and hang out with us there. But thank you, Kristian. Thanks, guys. Much love. Have a good Monday.
John's the best. Thank you guys for having a fun time with us here today. Thanks to John for joining us. Thank you for all the wonderful super chats that you guys have put out there, all the comments in general. The activity has been great. If you haven't signed up for the Clips channel on YouTube, please do that. We have a lot of different things we're putting up there too. If you're into the UAP phenomenon, please check out my other channel, which is simply Down to Earth with Kristian Harloff. And that's it. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Oh, we got another one. See, look at that. Right before I left. Jacob Pynchon. I hope Lucasfilm chooses to forget that Daphne was even under that makeup. She really could have nailed being a dark acolyte. Keanu as Soul. Shahid. Agreed. Oh, no. Sid Vicious passed away? Oh, man. I just Sid Vicious passed away. We just lost Rocha on that one. But shoot. Poor Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious, the wrestler, passed away. That's horrible. Well, love goes out to him and his family. That's horrible news. So with that sad news, I guess that's what's going to take us out. But and just to you, Jacob, for putting that in there also about Daphne Keene. I couldn't agree with you more. I think the whole show should have been designed around her and Soul, and the twin story to me was absolutely worthless. So there you go. That's it. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Thanks to all of you. It was a fun show today. Well, that's it. I love you. Great. Peace out, everybody. See you on the flip side. Bye.